Yo, 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 hello everybody, welcome back. I'm Ziggy, this is ZiggyBot, and I hope you have a wonderful Thursday. So for today I have nothing planned, we will wing it. From the title of the stream you can tell I'm lazy, a little lazy bean. So today we're gonna just chat, I'm gonna talk, tell you something that I've been up to, what's going on. Yeah. Also, again, thank you, Sapphire Melon, for stopping by. Have a wonderful rest, guys. You should check out Sapphire_Melon, a very, very wonderful friend of the channel and a great supporter of what we do here. And that's awesome. Yeah. So it's been a while since I actually did some sort of, I would call it just chatting. Can you call it just chatting? Yeah. Oh, a lot of happened lately, I must say. So, not only in the way how I view streaming, content creation, but also my private life. So that's good. Kind of nervous about some upcoming stuff that I will have or need to deal with. It's kind of spooky. In a good way, though. In a good way. So, where do I start? I guess the first thing that maybe would be cool is I did commission somebody to do us for the community 3 new emotes. Once we unlock more slots, we will use them. If I do actually can, I guess, show you the new upcoming emotes. Give me a sec. And we will check them out. They're pretty cute. This time it is a different artist, since the previous artist was on holidays, but I think they turned out amazing. So these little fellows, I really like them. It's just 3 little emotes. We got a little shy, then we have a laugh emote and a uwu. I think they look very cute. Those emotes are made by the lovely folks over, what the hell did they open? Quickly, I got them made on Fiverr. It is made by Seiko Rule. Super affordable, relatively quick, actually. Yeah, it's my 3rd time commissioning somebody on Fiverr, and so far it was interesting, I must say. Definitely something I can consider do more, but we will see how the future shows us. So something that I also want to talk about is that we did hit some milestones, not milestones, but I think pretty kind of cool numbers on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. So let's start with that. I did not expect it to be this point. It's kind of new to me. So let me open up my YouTube. So let me open up my YouTube. So we recently hit 17 subscribers on my YouTube channel, which is insane. It's cool, it's cool. So let me switch the screen up. Let me go here. It's Windows capture, right? Yep, YouTube. And then main audio is gonna be YouTube 2. Up. So this is my YouTube channel. I have German YouTube made because I speak mainly German. So I have 70 17 subscribers, and I'm almost at my 600th video, which is insane. That's crazy, because I've did not think about it much when I was working, but I do upload frequently and do, I guess, random stuff, which is kind of nice. So makes me happy. And you can see my butt. I hope that don't get me copyright strike already attacked for somebody. So we got a bunch of different stuff shown here. It's just cool and all. A bunch of video game, and I guess also VTubers. What else can I tell you? So basically, one of the things that I was thinking about, I've been actually talking with some of my friends how to go about it. So basically, I've been not sure if I should maybe try to do. Oh my goodness, why is my gamepad vibrating? Let me turn it off. That's strange. Why did you go on? What did I press? Burgle! Wow! Hi Burgle, welcome in. How you doing? Hope you're doing fantastic, my friend. Today we're just doing some good old just chatting. Let me give you a shout out. Guys, go check out Burgle. Go check out Burgle official. A lovely little buddy. Yeah, what was I talking about? I was talking about the idea of maybe recording some Let's Plays on Twitch. I went to bed, you stream, and woke up to the new stream today. It's like, yeah, thank you. I hope you had a great sleep. So yeah, I've been talking about some stuff that was going on, some stuff going on in my real life besides streaming and content creation that might change some stuff for me. I might not be able to stream as often as I did before for a couple of months, but yeah. Today I guess I'm gonna just watch some YouTube stuff, maybe play some games. I don't know. I like the title says, I'm a little lazy. So what do I want to watch? That's the question. Sorry, I'm drinking some hot tea. Hot tea. We got a bunch of stuff to do. Burgle, do you have a YouTube channel, by the way? Do you? Do you? Oh shit. Oh shit. I don't know. Okay, good to know. What do we wanna do? What do we wanna do? So, first thing what I wanna do is upcoming upper body up and down upcoming video games. VR headset, what? Video games. Let me turn off the music. Pop. Or maybe let's turn this on. Oh shit, that is kind of loud. I'm sorry. Why is it so loud? What the hell? Okay, what we got here? Switcher.
I didn't come to this godforsaken island looking for money. I came here to escape.
Hey, Grant! Snap out of it! Grant! You awake? You hear me?
Oh, I've seen that one.
3 vehicles up ahead. Previous
I don't know, we've seen this video already. No. Maybe, forgotten video games for forgotten video games. Why 2033? Forgotten video games. Yeah, let's go with childhood games.
Back in the days before the internet and gun violence, there was no way of telling which games would be good and which would be dog shit before you actually got your damn hands on the thing and started playing.
How's the audio? Is it good? Should I make it a little bit
This
louder?
meant an awful lot of childhood trips to Extravision or Blockbuster for the rest of the planet.
Yeah, we had
renting a
Blockbuster,
game and
something
just
like
rolling the
Blockbuster.
dice. With the sheer volume of games released during the PlayStation 1 and 2 era, the result for all us 90s kids was an unprecedented exposure to just fucking weird shit. And while we all remember the greats like Metal Gear Solid and Spyro the Dragon, some of the best forgotten train wrecks have retreated deep into the crevices of our epic
A little louder, okay, I
brains.
got you.
Simpsons Hit and Run? Fuck that. I'm talking Simpsons Wrestling, a game that was about as well balanced as my grandfather, who is a seafaring alcoholic and also dead. I used to think Ned Flanders resurrecting himself after you beat him was bullshit, but after watching Tyson Fury utilize that exact same technique in real life, I now view it as a legitimate strategy and also believe in God. If the 80s and 90s were the video game renaissance, then the 2000s must have been the wild, wild west. There were no rules. Games were being commissioned, developed, and sold based entirely on brand recognition alone. And so for every major movie release or popular kids show, there was a wave of video games made.
Oh, I
just to
remember this
cash in
one.
on the
I hated
Harry Potter
this one.
dog. Sometimes they were good,
The SpongeBob
like
game.
Spider-Man 2 or Jurassic Park.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2
Other
was
times
good.
They were
And
Monsters
1
Inc.
too.
Or Beyblade Let It Rip.
What?
A game so cryptic that no one on God's flat earth has ever actually figured out how to play it. And I'm not saying that this era of video games was bad. Quite the opposite. But for every kid who got Double Dash on their 7th birthday, there was 100 more who received Monster Racers, Toy Story Racers, or the one with Crazy Frog.
Oh, yeah, I had this one. I had
Because
this
renting
one.
games was so cheap, there was much more room to experiment. Once
I
every
miss the
other
days
week,
where
my
you
dad
could
used to
just
take me
rent a
and my
video game.
older
Can you
brother to
imagine how easy it would be
and flip a
for
coin
streaming
to see who gets
games?
to put it all on black.
You rent a
My
game,
little
I don't
brother
know,
was there
for
too,
2 weeks,
but
and then you
he was a
record it and you don't
so,
need to buy it.
Fuck that guy, I guess. And this led us to discover some of the greatest games ever made. I mean, the list of games Jack would rent when he won the coin toss includes stuff like Sly Raccoon, Ratchet and Clank, Jack and Daxter, fucking Metal Gear Solid 3. The list of games I would rent on such occasion include
Really?
Jackie
Even-
Chan Stuntman.
Oh, yeah, I had this one too.
This concludes the list of games that I would choose to rent. There is an alternate timeline where Extravision.
My favorite video game that I rented
still
was
renting
King Kong.
Jackie Chan Stuntman to this very day. And while obviously
Percy
these are
Jack,
the games
no,
that
not
stood the
Percy,
test
what's
of
his
time,
name?
they
Cameron
are
Jackson,
in respect
King
to
Kong.
The gems we left behind. I mean, you say Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2.
Never
I say
played that
Thrash.
one.
You
Never.
say Smash Brothers Melee. I say Digimon Rumble Arena.
Oh, I played
You
this
say
a
Red Dead
lot.
Redemption. I say that one cowboy level from Time Splitters 2. Hail! Hail! Yes, GoldenEye for the N64 is one of the most important games ever made, obviously.
Never played that one.
But what about GoldenEye Rogue Agent? A
What?
game where you get Jedi powers for some reason, and also James Bond just fucking eats an entire helicopter 15 seconds into the first level. We all spent countless hours of our lives trying to get the sea captain and his young Italian deckhand to woohoo in Sims 2. No
Sims
one is
2.
denying that. But how many of you can look me in the eye and
Wait,
tell me you've done
wait,
battle
wait,
with the
wait. I love
alien
this.
time
Wait.
narc?
I love this.
Stressed if you can't. We all
Wait.
spent
I
countless
show
hours
you.
of
I
our
show you.
lives trying
I
to
love
get the
this.
sea captain
This.
and his young Italian deckhand to woo.
Wait. Look how they cut it out. It was fake PNG. It was a fucking fake PNG. Oh my god. Oh, holy. Not even Sims 2. Fake
No one is denying that.
PNG.
But how many of
I
you can
hate
look me
fake
in the eye
PNG
and
so
tell me
much.
you've done battle with the alien time narcs dressed as a giant fucking rat in Sims 2 DS?
What
No
the
one
heck?
will not be providing any further context. Real quick, don't even think about it. What is the best Crash Bandicoot game? If your answer was anything other than Crash Bash, I'm gonna need you to unsubscribe right this fucking second.
Crash
Just because none of
Bash.
these games are making anyone's top 10 list, that doesn't mean they were any less important. These games stayed with us down to the smallest detail. The sound of Harry Potter's janky ass PlayStation 1 jump.
My cousin had one of Harry
The
Potter
anxiety
played.
of
Oh,
trying to
this one I
dispose of
have
that
a lot.
giant bomb
Fun.
before it explodes in
The
Spider-Man.
last mission killed me always. I never finished
The
that
sheer
game.
gut-wrenching horror of that ghost leveling. God.
Fuck.
Unlike today, where a game being based on a movie or TV show is
Oh, I had
usually
this
a
one too on
massive red
PC.
flag, back in the day, it was actually a mark of quality. Well, no, most of them were still awful, but sometimes they weren't, and that means
Oh,
something.
yeah, I loved
Goddammit,
the
Path
Lord of
Neo
the
for the
Rings
PS2
games.
and Xbox is better than all three of the movies combined, and I can prove that with science. There was a DDR game for the Jungle
What?
Book that had some fucking bangers, and I
No
can still
way.
hear the announcer's voice when I close my eyes.
No
at night.
way.
You got a high score? Please enter your initials.
No
Or what about
way.
the absolute rake of educational magic school
You're
bus
kidding.
games that made learning fun by taking you to wild and interesting places like the moon or the past or inside your fellow man.
What?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you think this was going to be a normal field trip with the frizz? Get the fuck out of here! And then there's the mountain of amazing original titles. Games like Pursuit Force, Pandemonium, Tactics
Oh, yeah.
Advanced, Age of Empires, fucking Custom Robo Arena, which was the first game
Santa
I
is
ever
playing
played
that game a
100%,
lot.
and
Looks fun.
no one ever talks about it. I only know of 2 other people who've even played it, and they're twins, so that still only counts as 1.
I know
So
a bunch of
please,
people who
show
played
this
that
video
game.
to your friends, share it on social media.
I like this
Download it
meme.
on LimeWire if you have to. I don't care about the views. I just want everyone to take a moment and remember some of the defining games of our childhood that time has
Okay, chat. Real question. What was one game, or maybe multiple games, that defined your childhood? I go first. There are 3 games that come to my mind. First game was, and is still one of my favorites. It's called Red Dead Revolverhead for the PlayStation 2. That was one of the very, very first video games that I finished. And I had so much fun. We can actually check out the trailer for that later on. Second was Legend of Soul Silver and Legend of Kain. The wait, Soul Reaver. Wait. Soul Reaver, yeah. Soul Reaver. Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver. This was the second game. And the third game was Lord of the Rings, The Return of King.
forgotten.
All for
Because a
PlayStation 2.
world where no
Lego
longer
Island
is
game.
Beehive Bedlam
Ooh.
is a world that I don't want to drink in. Thank you so much.
I like
for
Lego
watching my
Batman.
video.
Pin. Let me show you Red Dead Revolver. This was my jam. I oh my goodness, I liked it a lot. Can I I don't know. Can you can I trailer. Red Dead Revolver trailer. It was so fun. You can only watch in 240p. Oh, that brings back memories. Oh, in that game you can play with as multiple characters, and you even can play as the main antagonist of this game. Oh, I love this level so much. Look at my boy, who's so cute. Oof. Bring me down. Shh. Let's go. Bam. Boy. Spring 2004. So the idea about this game was, so the main character, he was a farmer boy, and his dad got killed from another dude, right? And we wanna take revenge on our for our father. So we pick up a pistol that was thrown, revolver that was thrown in the fire. We burn our hand and we become mercenary, not mercenary. What are people called that collect money from people? Bounty hunter. We become bounty hunter and we can play as this dude who was a freaking menace. We can play as who were then also Indian guy, bow and arrow, sneaky. I like the duels a lot. Boom, boom, boom. Red. Jack Swift. Annie Stoke. Shallow Wolf. Hell yeah. General Diego. Buffalo Soldier. Oh man, this brings back memories. Oh man, maybe one day when I get a capture card, I could play it on stream. I don't know, might be bad. So Lego Island game. Never heard about it. Lego Island game. So, but oh man. Oh. Modern PC edition. What the heck? Perkle, you played it? Why does this look like freaking Roblox? Perkle, you okay? You okay? Let go. Let go. What? Oh my goodness. I love it. I love it so much. I love it. Oh my god. Oh my god.
I'm the pizza delivery dude. The dude with the food. Oh, what this?
Why does this remind me of Simpsons? Simpsons intro. Oh, what did they do to you, my dude? They killed him. Oh my god. Oh my god. No way. Oh my god, I love it. I love it so much. Wow. That's insane. Look at the water. Oh. Police station. What the fuck is this? It's this dude is playing Lego Island. Wait, is this Lego Island? What the fuck? LOL. Trust me, my For You page gonna be fucked. That's crazy. We actually also had a lot of those video games that were in the cereal box. One of those games was this one. Hugo. Oh, it's all in German. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I remember Hugo Classic 3. That was one of the games in our cereal box. Hugo Classic. And a lot of Marhun. Where you would... It's basically a duck hunt, but it's just chicken flying around. Oh my god. Yeah, look at those graphics. Look at them. Look at those graphics. Holy smokes. What else did I play? I remember I played this one. Bionicle PS2 game. 3D. I played pop. Wait, you can play it on PC? What? Ah, it's Heroes. No, I did not play Heroes. I played. You can watch the Bionicle Muscle Flight for free. What? The official trailer. I played this one. Yeah. So, fun story about this game. We were on a flea market, right? My mom went with me together. And I saw this one dude who was selling PlayStation 2 games, right? And my mom went away, and I said to this dude, I'm gonna take this game and ask my mom if I can buy it, right? He said, okay. And I basically stole this game from this dude. I miss Bionicle. I have this dude still somewhere in my Lego box. What happened to Bionicle? Wait, it is on PC? Oh my god, Intel Inside Pentium 4. What the fuck? Holy shit. Oh, Burgle, we're too old. 2003. What happened to Bionicle? Wait. What? What is love? Really? Happened? To Monday? What the fuck? Bionicle. Let's check this out.
In the beginning, there was Lego. Then, Lego created the Bionicle.
Honestly, Bionicle was the one thing when Toys R Us was still around. I was most excited about if you go to toy shop to check out all the Bionicles. I was so jealous of kids who had, in Bionicle, for those of you who don't know, Bionicle is the Lego's version of action figure, which were like mechas. And story how Bionicle came about is super interesting, by the way. You need to check it out. Maybe we can check it out after this one. But basically, there are some Bionicles set that you can combine together. For example, you buy 3 Bionicles and you create a 4th Bionicle out of it. But I was so jealous of people who got all those 3 together. I had the black one with the gloves. Hi, Remy. Which one? We're gonna check it out. So, man. I also like those. Lego had those action figure, huge Lego knights, basically, where you could move a lever on the back. It was wait, maybe I can find it. Lego Knight's Kingdom. Yo, it's this ones. Do you guys remember those things? Those dudes? I had this one. I still have him somewhere. Oh my goodness. Holy fuck. I have this one and I have the knight. Wait. Maybe we can find them. How expensive are those? Wait, shopping. 8 to 10. Holy shit. Yeah, exactly. They don't make this stuff. Wait, I saw something. Pop. What did I saw? I saw something. Yeah, I had this dude. I still have him somewhere. And the knight one. But anyway, those was great. They were great. Honestly, I was a nerd in the school times.
Time of creativity and intense lore that flesh to the toys.
Wait, after Bionicle, there was the other toys, right? There is now another thing. Lego Bionicle and what's now? Hero Factory? I think it's called. Yeah, Hero Factory.
That we deeply loved and all will cherish for eternity.
Or so I've been told. I never actually owned Bionicles of my own. My parents couldn't really get me Legos, so I went to a friend's house and played with his. He would fill my ear with all
You know what was funny? My very first Lego was
and then we would build
Lego
Bionicles
Police
out of
set.
this giant mishmash of parts, and that was
And then I had a fake
my only
Lego.
exposure to
And I did not
Bionicles.
understand why certain parts don't connect it with each other.
And learn more about Bionicle. Mostly because there's some choice memes talking about the deep lore. And as someone who likes to write books, lore is like candy to me. And there I was, beginning my descent into the bowels of the internet, buying toys and reading the lore, watching the movies, and taking a break to look at more Bionicle memes.
That's me.
Now, back in the year 2001, Lego had developed a solid reputation for itself, but this was during a serious decline in sales. They laid off 1,000 employees, but ruining family lives wasn't enough to satisfy their shareholder overlords, so they tried getting licenses to create Lego sets. It was this time period when they got the rights to the Star Wars and Harry Potter franchises, but that just didn't seem to be working as fast as they needed to. So they did something radical. They made their own franchise. Oh my Matanui! Originally, they wanted the series to be Boneheads of Voodoo Island, but then an intern slapped them across the face and said, "That's a terrible idea." So then they made a catchier one-line marketable name called Bionicle, a portmanteau of Biological Chronicle. Which makes no sense to me, but anything is better than Boneheads of Voodoo Island. They kept that mysticism and Polynesian aesthetic because it was cool and no one was doing it at the time. And that's what we call differentiation. Things kicked into gear in 2003 with the first movie, Mask of Light.
I own it.
Dude who finds the Mask of Light and
I own it on DVD.
Warrior, or Toa, is to be sought.
It seems the Mask of Light has chosen you. Will you seek the...
Wait, this is freaking Lego Ninjago. What the fuck? I don't know if any of you watched Lego Ninjago, but there is this. So Lego Ninjago, you have your 5 standard characters, Kai and all these other ones, right? And then they get another one, the golden one. That story is basically Lego Ninjago.
I will. And Takua the Chronicler has volunteered to join me.
Where have I seen this before? The only problem is that he's a total wuss and refuses to accept his duty. Also, the existing Toa are fighting.
Kopaka, do you think
Kopaka.
were right about us?
Taraka.
We lost our unity.
It looks good actually, the CGI.
I think that answers your question. He eventually realizes that he's being a complete baby and accepts his duty, putting on the Mask of Light and becoming the Toa of Light.
Yeah, saw that coming a mile away.
Then he defeats the bad guy, Makuta, in a sports game.
Let us awaken the great spirit. Unity.
Quickly, T-pose to establish dominance. The movie is okay.
Are you guys T-posing? I am.
The main character, but his unwillingness to accept his duty fits with their theme behind the creation myth, the 3 traits that a Toa should have.
I don't know.
Unity,
Bionicle was
destiny.
something else.
And it's a theme throughout the whole movie, but it's still just one big toy commercial. Then we had Bionicle 2, Legends of Metronui. Suddenly, it's
I've just
prequel, and
noticed that
wasn't
my
entirely clear,
glass
so I was
is
confused for a while.
off-centered.
Now
What the
we
fuck?
have an all-new cast of characters, and the animation got a little better, so that's nice.
Or are they imposters?
No!
Sus!
Ah, Toa!
They're taller than everyone else. I thought that was the only requirement to be a Toa. In this movie, they did the right thing of focusing on the Toa instead of the Matoran, or the short guys. Because the Toa are cooler and we want to see them do cool things. This movie focuses on the Toa learning about themselves and their powers. It's a movie about
Hey, honestly, the
self-discovery,
CGI looks
and is
still
done much
insanely
better than
good.
the previous movie.
Better than the new Flash movie, for sure.
Now, we
Honestly?
do the same for them.
Wakama?
Wait! You're the priest dude from the first movie. Holy crap, that's the main character from the first Dude, that's his Wow! Then we have the third movie, Web of Shadows. Now
Oh yeah,
it's
that was
a
also
horror
cool.
movie with, as the name suggests, spiders. Or Viscerac, apparently, now. So
I had
this
the
is
green
a
one.
midquel to the prequel, meaning it takes place in the middle of the second movie just after they beat Makuta, but right before they save the Matoran people. I mean, gosh, guys. The
Why
movies
did he
aren't
get
all
the
that bad,
freaking
but are you
jet?
trying to make it confusing to follow? Now the worst
I had
part is that
the
we know
green
that
one.
there really isn't any sense of danger because we know they all survive, because we know they saved the Matoran, so that's a problem. Now they've evolved to have a new form.
It's all right, Natal.
What the fuck?
That's what they consider ugly? So what, are elongated faces ugly to them? Man, if they ever see a horse, they'd probably vomit.
I understand your
Ooh, look at the
You require proof.
hot. Would smash. 10 out of 10. Gonna smash.
Oh, that was surprisingly demented for a kid's movie. I feel like you could have made your point without having your subjects kill themselves, but
I mean, I think also the
basically all
Bionicle
the
community
Toa are turning
is
into
extremely
monsters, and Vakama, the
popular
red
still.
one, is being brainwashed into joining the bad guys, but we already know they go back to normal and save the Matoran by the end because that was the end of the second movie. So I kind of feel like rolling my eyes because you can guess the entire plot.
We've got a job to do.
Maybe my next form gonna be a Bionicle. Bionicle.
The Matoran.
Wow, Vakama becomes a good guy again? I never would have guessed.
T-pose, guys, T-pose. What's this mushroom guy doing?
Wow,
Mushrooms.
they all changed back to their old selves? I never would have guessed. Okay, Web of Shadows was pretty stupid. All you need to know is that Vakama shoots the creepy lady and Makuta breaks free because of that. Otherwise, you can skip this entire movie. It's pointless. And then, there was nothing. A hiatus for 4 years, where there was no movie. What would we do? How could we survive? Was this the end of Bionicle? The yearly release of movies stopped, and now we're left with
I love scripted videos a lot, actually. Especially if they don't take them serious.
We waited, searching for the remnants of the last
The drama, guys, the drama makes it for me.
circled us. Perhaps this was the end.
I don't know, this just kind of reminds me of someone.
We didn't buy enough Bionicles.
I don't know who.
We didn't
who.
know. All we could do was hope. Hope for a brighter future with Bionicle movies.
Unfortunately, it's too late for me for brighter future. Let's say to make it more dramatic.
And then A light shone on the horizon. It was the 4th Bionicle movie. Praise be Matanui, for he hath gifted us with more cheaply made animation to consume.
Oh boy! Ha! Now for the final movie, A Legend Reborn.
Oh gosh, I guess they actually put effort into this
Hey,
one.
Torgo, should we do a Bionicle watch along?
Look, there's texture now. The story goes is that Matanui,
I did not watch this one.
the Matanui, was betrayed.
Wait. Guys. Wait. Guys.
Look, there's texture now. The story
Wait.
goes is that Matanui.
Wait, guys. Guys, this, right? This, and this. This, and this. This, and this. Maybe this, and this. It's basically the same. No, because I don't want to rip on stream from such a fast. Hey, let's do it. Let's get the game together. Let's get Vex too. I bet Vex didn't watch that one at all. She will be so confused.
Yes,
It's basically Thanos.
Matanui was betrayed by Makuta, and he was sent flying across space. Now he needs to figure out a way back to save his people.
In the past months, they've seemed to know our every move.
True, but don't worry. It's not like we've got much worth stealing. Well, maybe Matanui does. I meant his blade, Bugface. I can't believe I'm talking to an insect.
Matanui and the others start discovering what happened to the ancients on this new planet, and it sets it up for a big adventure of ancient discoveries.
Then, my friends, our quest begins.
Hey, that's freaking Power Rangers now. We got Thanos, we got Tommy Oliver, we got Iron Man, we have the dude from Aquaman, and we have Captain America. I'm a Bionicle Prime. Wait, do you think there is Bionicle OC?
And then they never made another movie and left it on a cliffhanger. Yeah, so it turns out Lego canceled Bionicle in 2010, and the only way you could learn about what happened next
Is through the comic books and chapter books, so, you know, woohoo!
But Mom, I don't want to read.
Now, Jimmy, don't you want to appease Matanui?
But Mom!
Should I brand you a heretic?
Nope, I'm reading. Crazy Matanui. I'm reading.
Then, for some reason, they decided to have the
I did not
original
like
creators
Hero
of
Factory.
Bionicle work on Hero Factory, which is
I
pretty
did
cool.
did not
follow
like
the
it
events
at
of
all.
Bionicle, and I don't understand why they would just abandon Bionicle like that, but you know, I
It
guess
was made by
Lego had
DC
their own
though.
plans.
DC is fun.
Hero Factory lasted 11
Comics.
episodes, and that's and the only way you can watch them is through the DVDs or on a
Wait,
crisp
11?
240p definition on the official Lego YouTube channel. This was during that weird era between the 2010 and 2014.
Hey, should we watch it?
Where everyone was trying to make action cartoons relevant again, and all of them were failing.
Let's watch it.
Hero Factory was no exception, which sucks because action cartoons are typically the coolest. However, I will say that the toys were not
Yeah.
nearly as good as the original Bionicle.
Yeah,
You just
unfortunately.
have a frame and you tack on the pieces. There's no real construction.
I did not
to
like the
how
Lego
Bionicles were designed.
hero
There's no
thingies.
moment where you realize how it all fits together. You just go,
That's it?
now, Bionicle is a multimedia franchise, which means they had video
Oh, I
games
loved
that
it
tells
once with
the
the
story, which I
discs
never got to play
where you
except
could
for
flip
one
the
time,
discs.
I think. Maybe. It's hard for me to know since it was so long ago and I had no idea what I was doing. But they also
I
had
might
a
look
trading
into
card game
playing this game.
made
What?
by
Training
Upper
card?
Deck, because when a company doesn't care about making a good card game, they go to Upper Deck. Then, guess what? They rebooted Bionicle. for one whole year. In the year of 2015, LEGO decided to reboot it, and with that came a whole new series on Netflix, surprisingly.
What? Wait, for real? Let me check.
Wait,
Netflix.
Who's Akimu? What happened to Matanui? I thought he was Makuta's brother. They even used the original Toa heroes from the original series, and their names aren't changed.
Oh my
Even
god,
my main man,
it's on
Kotaku, is the
Netflix.
same. But Akimu is new for whatever reason. I guess Makuta could have
What the fuck?
two brothers? I mean, this does take place on a different island, but is the Makuta they're talking about Makuta Pterodax? Because Makuta Pterodax is the one that's the big bad guy from the movies. There's apparently other Makuta. I mean, at least they gave the original Toa some upgrade. Just look at Onua. Now that's
Damn, never skip leg day.
The only problem is that the show feels like a watered down version of Bionicle. It doesn't have the same high fantasy aspect as the original series did. It looks like Bionicle, but it just doesn't feel like Bionicle. And I think that's the biggest reason why people didn't really give this show a chance. And people
But
would
the
have you
toys-
believe that Bionicle is responsible for the recovery of LEGO, and it's the creativity of the Bionicle brand that brought them back from the brink of bankruptcy. And that's a nice sentiment, but it's really because the prequel trilogy of Star Wars was coming out and it was reigniting interest in the brand. That and all the other licenses that LEGO was getting was making it easier for them to sell toys by riding on the backs of already successful franchises. But Bionicle was by no means a failure. It was the exact opposite of a failure. And it definitely helped LEGO financially. But it's not like it was the sole savior of LEGO.
That's true.
What happened to it? I spent years meditating the idea.
Let's guess what might happen to them. So the logical thing was it didn't make so much money in the long run. The next logical thing was controversy. Or the production value declined. The photo from bugs me. Wait. I did not pay attention to it.
It's a nice sentiment, but it's really because the prequel trilogy of Star Wars was coming out and it was reigniting interest in the brand. That and all the other licenses that LEGO was getting was making it easier for them to sell toys by riding on the backs of already successful franchises. But Bionicle was by no means a failure. It was the exact opposite of a failure. And it
You mean the
definitely helped
magazine? I kind of see it. I can. You know what? I think is a little bit unfortunate. Can you see my mouse? No. Wait, I can fix it. So here down where it says Rahio Unleashed Bionicle Beast. So this is kind of hard to read. And even the magazine, it's kind of
LEGO financially.
hard
But
to
it's
read.
not like it was the sole savior
Graphic
of
design
LEGO.
is my passion.
What happened to
I like the little addition of the little red dot.
it? I spent years meditating the ideology and lore of Bionicle. I wanted to understand everything Matanui had to teach us. I needed to understand what it truly means. Unity, duty, and destiny. There has to be more. There has to be something I'm missing. One day, I hope to understand. That's it! LEGO Ninjago. And LEGO Chima. And ironically, basically the success that LEGO had during the years Bionicle was dead. You see, the long-standing reasoning as to why the Bionicle reboot failed was because LEGO simply didn't have the budget to market it as well as they did the original series. I mean, I didn't even know there was a show on Netflix until this video. And there wasn't the epic
Same.
story-driven commercials. And that's because LEGO was busy pushing their Ninjago and Chima and the LEGO movie,
I mean, honestly,
etc. They
I
managed
liked
to
Lego
find a
Ninjago
demographic with
the
all
first
these
couple of
new
seasons.
series, and that demographic
Lego Chima I did not
interested
watch.
in Bionicle. Chima failed, sure. When I watched it, I thought it was Lego Thundercats, and when I found out it wasn't, I got upset and quit watching.
Thundercats
But
was
Ninjago
cool.
actually gets kind of good. Behold,
What's about
Police
what?
Legend.
What the
kid
heck?
you not. Now,
Did you watch the second Lego movie? I think it was Lego Batman,
more
right?
Hero Factory than Bionicle, but this is where
I'm not sure.
this franchise has ended up. Now you can get these at convenience stores. And do you see this heresy right here? It's fully built inside
What the fuck?
packaging. Where's the fun in it then?
Ah.
Half the point. They probably did
Wait,
that
the Lego
intentionally
2
so
was
that
in
Lego wouldn't have to
space,
sue
right?
them. I get
With the
it.
space cat.
But like, what's the point anymore? That's wrong. So some people have been posting this on Twitter, and I made a post about it on Twitter, and I'm like, hey, they have Chinese fake knockoff Bionicles at my
Honestly, I think, not gonna lie, look at the frame, not gonna lie, I do think that Bionicle would work very well in Japan.
Factory figure, and I'm like,
Think,
excuse me,
maybe.
I never heard of Hero Factory until doing this video.
Bakugan! We're gonna check out Bakugan.
I didn't even know the DVDs existed until doing this video. That's how far away I've been from Bionicles. I'm sorry. War for the Invader Form Space. I've been saving this since Christmas to open it up and show you guys.
Honestly, I did not like what they did with Bakugan, the latest season, where this one dude could transform into freaking Bakugan. First season of Bakugan, gem. Second season, gem. The Nintendo DS games, gem. Insanely good.
Basically what you already know. I mean, like, it's just oh, hey, it actually has instructions. That's kind of cool. Behind it, neato, whatever. It's just... I got the white one because Kopaka was my favorite when watching the movies and reading the books and reading the comics. But this is it. It's literally the exact same. Oh my gosh! Like you just pop it off. Well, there that goes. You just pop it off and that's it. It's the exact, and it even has the same design.
Why did they build it already in the package?
It's one for one.
Wait, did the package have Lego on it?
How far existed? Because my knockoff
Wait.
Bionicles at my convenience
Oh my god, it doesn't have Lego sign on it.
store. And
lol.
I'm like, excuse watching the movies and reading the books and
what the
reading
fuck?
the comics. But this is it. It's literally the exact same. Oh my god.
How is it possible?
Like you just pop it off. Well, there that goes. You just pop it off and that's it. It's the exact, and it even has the same design. I mean, like, it's one for one. What the heck? This is kind of sad. How did they get this past Lego? How did they?
Oh.
It's I would have figured Lego would have slapped them across the face with a cease and desist or something. But I guess I don't know if the laws in China are much different. I don't even know if it's China. I really doubt I can get a good picture of it. But none of that is Chinese.
Oh,
None
it's
of those are Chinese
knockoff.
characters. Are
Okay.
you kidding me? What the heck?
Okay, makes sense.
Bionicle
Makes
wasn't
sense.
worth their time because
Hmm.
it was just smarter to put money into something that was already successful at the time. And Bionicle, during 2015, wasn't successful. Now LEGO heavily hints that Bionicle won't be making a comeback. So, tell me in the comments, what was your favorite Bionicle? Kopaku is
Honestly, I do think Bionicle has potential. Not gonna lie, it has potential. So, you know what I really liked? This is my favorite. This is my favorite.
Wait, remember Huntic Secrets and Seekers? The Titan
Ooh,
summoning
hi.
journal
Hi,
protecting
Un.
show that focuses on a group of seekers known as the Huntic Foundation that have the
How you
ability to
doing?
bond with and control the power of ancient titans locked away through amulets and rings hidden all throughout the world as they fight back against those seeking to use the power of the titans for evil, having the ability to bond with the titans as well. Oh, and they can do magic too, being able to cast spells because
This
it
is the
sounds
best
cool
show.
as heck, but there was a lot planned for this cartoon. Often cited as a forgotten cartoon or something that you may have some remembrance of. Huntic had all the
I will
engines
do
full
it.
steam ahead from a talented group putting the cartoon together. A trading card game, video games, amusement park attractions, and more. But clearly, Huntic today isn't all of those things. While some of them did happen, not everything did. So today, let's take a look into Huntic, what it was all about, the interesting stuff surrounding it, and what happened to it. Let's seek out all of the secrets we can dig up.
The soggy young man behind me is Locke Lambert.
Huntic Secrets and Seekers is one of those shows trapped from the aughts to the early 2010s that is this mix of so many things familiar to you, but yet it finds its own identity within it all. We follow
I liked it a lot. I still like it.
Your average dude who deals with very the opposite of average things. With a missing father and a newfound amulet and journal, his life begins to change drastically from the average school life that he's had into this full-on action adventure where he is hunted by a secret organization as he continues to fall down this rabbit hole of his father's footsteps, learning to become a seeker and standing up against the organization, which he can do thanks to the help of fellow friends who tag along on his journey. Locke himself, voiced by Yuri Lowenthal, is an adventurous person who wants to follow in his father's footsteps in becoming this legendary seeker. The only problem is that he just recently found out about this world, the power of the Titans, what being a seeker entails. This was all until he finds some of his missing father's seeker-related possessions, like an amulet and his father's journal, setting him on this journey and this want to figure out what happened to his dad, as he's always dreamed of being an adventurer like he was. Along with Sophie, voiced by Rebecca Solar, they end up now being hunted by the organization, where now they meet up with Dante Vale, a character that has the name and the looks of being way too cool for who they really are, voiced by Mark Thompson. The group here, in general, under the Huntic Foundation, become well acquainted as time goes on, with Dante playing this leader figure in the beginning, being the most knowledgeable and well adapted for anything that comes their way. Sophie finds this interest in her lineage and her place in everything, shifting away from the life of having her head in the books to finding who she truly is. Zalia, voiced by Karen Strassman,
oh, she was hot. Zalia is hot.
It's a one-person show, usually focusing on espionage thanks to her distrust of all sides, ultimately still helping the Huntic Foundation over her ties to the organization from her past. To round out our group, we also have Charit, the extra mascot that just brings in some quirkiness to the group, in which he can also speak, voiced by Mark Thompson as well, with him being involved in the Huntic Foundation as he is able to build back parts of his
I don't remember if this show was French or Italian. I think it's Italian.
Behind amulets, relationships that build more heart the longer they go on, and some pretty fun lore to sink your teeth into, as the world of Huntic was set to expand pretty greatly. So just how then did this idea come to be? How was it formed, and why did it become such a big effort between studios across the globe to create? And why did they have to go this hard on the theme song? I mean, this theme song is just really good.
Agree. Never giving up.
Hunting Secrets and Seekers.
So how did this show come to be? Let's take a look. Coming from Eugenio Straffi, the creator of the show Winx Club, something I will be covering on the channel later this year, he had a real vision for this show, spending time at the start conceptualizing the look
and now I see the art similarities actually, Winx Club.
Classic adventure look that it would have. Coming from Italy, Straffi was referred to or referenced
Italy,
as
okay, I was right.
Italy by the people who have worked with him or know him personally, like Sean Molyneux, who would serve as the show's head writer, creating the show Bible, completely putting together every little detail that the show would have to follow going forward, finding this nice mix of what would inspire Sean growing up, from the usual 80s staple cartoons to the Japanese anime that would make their way around the world, with the specific storytelling featured in Japanese media really resonating with him, which also clearly shows how we got that theme song. I mean, that's just clearly such an 80s inspired theme song. Sean would have a series of connections from this, starting with making adaptations of Japanese shows before becoming on board with Rurouni Kenshin. His time being familiar in this landscape and helping bridge the gaps of media from all around the world, he would end up working on Yu-Gi-Oh!, which would then later end up at Winx Club, getting familiar with Straffi and building this relationship between the Italian animator and director and Upper Deck, who were the distributors of Yu-Gi-Oh!, putting them together for some discussions and really to get an understanding of what they would be putting together in general. This was now a joint production involving people and companies from several countries, countries, so the workload would be split between these different regions to produce the full product. The writing of the show would take place all in the States, so for any stories, characters, or concepts, that would be handled here. In Italy, the show's computer graphics, design work, general art, and background art would all start coming together there. And lastly, South Korea would handle putting the final product together with the detailed animation. The balancing act between the Italian side of the production and the American side of the production would go back and forth with
thank you, Borgo.
a true team effort, being able to truly build and understand the characters that they are creating here, and develop the storylines they would follow. Things here would seem to be working quite well. Simone Borselli would be on board as well, working as a series assistant director to Straffi, making sure to really be on top of the production as a whole, reviewing thoroughly every single scene that was finished and put together multiple times to ensure the quality that they were aiming for. He would do this during different steps of the process, leaving little room for any mess-ups or things that weren't right to make it through to the finished product. When dealing with the show in this market, aiming to compete with other shows in this space's age demographic, action, more specifically fighting and violence, have to be handled in a certain way. To get around this, similar to Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon, we can shift the fighting from the actual human characters for the most part to the more fantastical or mystical characters, which is why we have the whole Titan aspect where they end up in these massive brawls, but the humans are still around for these situational observations and conflict-based dialogue. Once all was said and done, the show would officially premiere on January 3rd, 2009 on the CW for kids. The first season was pretty fun, mainly focusing directly on the character of Locke and his journey to be this incredible seeker just like his father was, while having to face the organization who was constantly after him and his group, this group being the Huntic Foundation, which are the protectors of the world from certain seekers, as these seekers are for the greater good of understanding, learning, and unearthing these lost treasures that contain immense power, holding in these titans which can be used for evil if fallen into the wrong hands. We see this season as a global adventure, finding these items and making sure that the beings inside are bonded with the seeker to be on the good side of things, before it's too late and they get bonded to the dark side. The show boasts an array of cool and creative character designs.
I agree. I like the Titans were cool.
Repetitive introduction to the Titan coming out to battle. For the next season, however, the show would change in animation style, very noticeably, going from the traditional animation look to flash animation, very similar to what happened to Chaotic. Also, the whole releasing of
Chaotic, oh my goodness.
As smooth as the episodes just coming out as you think they would. As when the show was done being on CW,
Chaotic was also something.
The show was over and taken off the air. But what happened was that Viacom made a purchase of 30% ownership into Rainbow SPA, Straffi's animation studio. This meant that Huntic would be in the hands of Viacom to distribute through their ownership of Nickelodeon across the globe. Nicktoons in the US would get it a lot later than the rest of the world, premiering season 2 throughout 2012 and 2013, leaving the final 15 episodes unaired or unreleased on their channel until Netflix would release the series on streaming in October of 2015. So the several year gaps surely didn't help with the brand recognition to build this show, at least in the territory that I'm familiar with. But another real problem that it faced may have caused some pushback from audiences truly getting into it, and it was this loose reference people would make to the show as being this ripoff of Yu-Gi-Oh! In some ways. But for the second season in general, the character writing did seem to ramp up a bit, working towards fleshing them out beyond only focusing on Locke being the sole entity hero that everyone is just around to support, but rather getting their time to shine amongst.
I don't know, the second season had felt kind of strange from the animation. I know it was Flash focused, but I'm not sure.
Sophie's character and her connection to the overall plot, and a new season also means, hey, maybe add a new character to join on the adventure, to add a lot more for the story, or to produce more action figures, take your pick. Here we have Den Fears, a character that would have a real reason personally to help fight against the evil that is rising thanks to his brother, who was raised alongside of him in an orphanage, being now fully corrupted to Spiral, while Den wanted away from that life. Now trying to save his brother, he ends up with the Huntic Foundation, and has this unique ability thanks to his Spiral mark to bond with a Titan of dark side only allowed bonds, making a pretty useful fit for the team. Like I said, it felt like there was a larger urgency for richer characters for an audience to attach themselves to, with a storyline that raises the stakes in the overall action.
So in the end, it's just money issue.
How was the fan base dealing with it? What else was there?
In the end, it's just always the money, guys. It's always the money. How sad.
Season and remaining episodes. If the show wasn't enough to keep the attention over time, whether due to the show itself or the scheduling, then there really is no brand recognition, right?
Let me have some, please. That pretty much wraps up basic training.
The Huntic trading card game. All the tools are in your hands.
Now, there was another major aspect to the show, or I guess the property as a whole, that was the additional market outside of the animation. Originally working with Upper Deck, there was no doubt that some form of card game needed to come out of this, which led to the card game releasing a month after the show would premiere, giving us a clue that working with Upper Deck, a good part of developing the show was developing a card game to go along with it. Like most trading card games based on shows that don't feature it as a main mechanic like Yu-Gi-Oh would, the game would feature Seekers, Titans, and cards that would cause the action and would be your standard 1v1 game.
One thing I do
Cards
own
in
this
general were
card
cool,
pack.
but we never saw anything take off from this. And outside of that, another major piece of the success pie would be action figures, which the show definitely did, from smaller to larger sizes that you can find in stores. As far as sales go with them,
I don't
it's really
remember
hard to
those.
determine. The show would come to an end after 2 seasons, 52 episodes in total. It had a decent sized fan base
Unfortunately.
that wasn't all that certain about the future of the franchise, however. Like, the show was popular enough to have theme park attractions for it in Rome at Magic Land, so internationally, there was...
Whoa. Ash KLVT, welcome in, Raiders. Hello, welcome in. How you doing? Sentai. Hello, guys. How was your stream? Welcome in. My name is Ziggy. I'm the Ziggy bot, and today we're watching some stuff on YouTube. Right now, talking about Hunting. How was your stream? What did you do? Me. Give you a follow. Up. Up. Tenpai raid. What's Tenpai? I don't know. Mahjong. Are you good in Mahjong? Yeah, we just learned that. So basically, Hunting had a lot of plans. They have had amusement park planned, video games, movies, and stuff. I never know how to play Mahjong. But welcome in, Raiders. Raiders, if you need to take rest, please do. Oh, thank you for the hug. Don't feel obligated to stay. Self-care is important. And feel free to vibe with us today. We're watching some cool stuff. We watched a little bit about Bionicle. Now it's Hunting time.
You may be familiar with. And just look at all this.
Welcome in, Raiders. Thank you again.
Come on, you're telling me you wouldn't wear this? For more expansion, they did try and come out with a Nintendo DS game in 2009, but it was never fully finished or released for some reason. It was set to be quite the experience with a story mode that would have taken around 20 hours to complete and having some sort of multiplayer functionality.
That's crazy.
But in 2010, there was a Hunting game that did come out, this time for iOS devices. Hunting Titan Defense. Playing as a Seeker and different Titans that you unlock, you fight back against those trying to attack you and get access to the journal. Speaking of book-related things, there was also a decent amount of comics produced for the show as well. And so, if not for the lack of effort, Hunting was priming itself to be a property that was on.
So basically, why Hunting failed? It's all about money.
Filled with so many other franchises literally filling the shelves, it's hard to stand out. Hunting did, at the bare minimum, bring a pretty entertaining show that featured some fun characters and creature designs that should keep you fairly entertained throughout its run. The series would eventually just become listed as quietly canceled, if the silence of it all and the weird release scheduling didn't already give that away, which I think is pretty sad. There was some fun ideas here at play that ultimately never got to be fully realized, but it did end up finding something unique and true to itself by the end, which I would also love to know from you. Were you a fan of Hunting when it came out? From the show
I am
to the
still a
card
fan
game,
of
any
Hunting.
it really? Did it capture
I
your
like this
attention?
season
How
1.
do you feel
I
about
own
it? Let me know in
the
comments.
cards.
Thanks so much for watching.
That's fun. That's cool. Yeah, Hunting was something. Slug Terra. Oh my goodness. Any of you watch Slug Terra?
Wait, remember Slug?
Slug Terra. Oh my goodness, guys. Slug Terra in my area, in my school. Slug Terra was the hit. Everyone was talking about when it aired. Number 1, it was for the cute little slugs. Number 2, it was a show about slugs, and a bunch of people did not like that.
Terra, who was the creation of Nerd Corp's Entertainment co-founder Asaf Ace Fipka, that premiered on Disney XD from 2012 to 2016. This hyper-immersive sci-fi fantasy series takes place in an underground world.
It's like, what's the one show called? Storm Riders?
Or the Earth world that we are familiar with, and the Dark Caverns, which is home
I
to
really
a
like the
corrupted
CGI in
liquid
this
known as
one.
Dark water. and imperialist demon-like creatures
Never
known
drink
as Darkbane.
dark
Slug
water,
Terra
guys.
is much more hospitable. It is home to slugs, little sentient creatures that are able to transform into powerful versions of themselves when launched faster than 100 miles per hour. Slug slinging is what the sport is called, in which someone uses a launch pad and slugs as their ammo to either duel or fight.
Storm Riders, I believe. Wait, let me actually see what the name was. Storm. Wait. How do I open it? Let me turn it on. Let me open it.
The show are still there and care greatly for the show, the messages within the show, and the cuteness of the different slugs. So to say I've been eager to check the series out would be a massive understatement. On his 15th birthday, 5 years after his father's disappearance, our main character Eli Shane must take up his father's mantle and venture down to Slug Terra to keep the peace and pick up where he left off. Ah, yes, the classic hero's journey. No, but seriously, if I was asked to leave Earth's surface, the first thing I would ask is if the place I'm going has a Brazilian steakhouse. If not, sorry, Slug Terra, you can take care of yourself. I've got a nice little cut of bottom sirloin to munch on.
This one. Stormhawks. Damn.
Now a word from our sponsor.
Thanks so much to Manscaped for sponsoring this video.
Manscaped.
This season, I am personally thankful to Manscaped. Thanks to their Manscaped of a nerdy left a large animation was founded in 2002 by Ace and Chuck Johnson after they left a larger animation company called Red Corps was acquired in 2014 by DHX Media, which is now known as Wildbrain. Slug Terra would premiere on Disney.
There was also another show I watched. What was it called?
Ran for technically 6 seasons, with the Slug Terra TV movies making up a lot of 2 seasons worth of its content, ending after 63 episodes in 2016. Slug Terra
something with Defenders.
Restrictions in coming up with the series idea for a
Psy Defenders?
Series, it was well known that
Fly Defenders? What was it again?
No-go. So the concept
I'm gonna check it out later after this one.
Naturally, but it was finding a way to make it more akin to something like a Nerf gun. Ace knew he wanted to set his series underground, but decided to deconstruct the concept of a gun and rework the guns to be more like a launch pad. Then, thinking even deeper about the ammo, he decided to think about the ammo as sentient beings that are friends with the people who are launching them. Those 2 decisions both formed the very core concepts of the series, as well as made it kid-friendly. Ace was also heavily influenced by the concept of westerns and how they were reworked into modern and futuristic settings like Star Wars. So the real challenge in developing the concept of Slug Terra had to be finding a way to fuse those ideas together, but make it solely unique as well, borrowing concepts from successful properties like Pokemon, but reverse engineering certain aspects of it, which we will get into in a little bit. But somehow, some way, this totally weird concept for a show managed to come together in a way leaving a slime trail all the way to now, a whole decade after it originally premiered.
I'm gonna have to wait for a recharge to try that again. We'll be right back to Slug Terra.
Disney XD.
And now back to Slug Terra.
The series opens with Will Shane, our character's father, who is engaged in a very perilous fight with the evil Dr. Black, before being sucked into a very dark black hole created by a ghoulishly modified slug called Tempesto. At this point, we aren't completely sure what happened to Eli's father. Is he dead or is he not? But we can assume that the hole he was sucked into leads to the Dark Caverns. With his father gone, Eli receives a message from one of his slugs, Burpee, that Will manages to sling out before being swallowed by the black hole. Will's note details his job and that the reason Eli is receiving the message is because he is gone, which everyone, including Eli, assumes meaning that he is dead. Eli doesn't seem to be too upset about this, which I guess makes sense. If my father abandoned me at a young age to play sheriff for an underground world, I too wouldn't bat an eye as much at his presumed passing. But hey, that's just me. However, to uproot my life, leave my family, friends, and the human world, and all of its yummy Brazilian steakhouse foods, to travel to a slug-themed world that I am not sure I can return from is a bit too much to ask for. Hey, to each their own, I guess. When Eli arrives in Slug Terra, it's shocking how much his name is thrown around. His dad was pretty famous and known as the best slug slinger in all of Slug Terra, quickly forming a reputation for himself.
Are you slugging, guys? Ooh, I like this bike.
Both negative and positive attention. Many assume that he is just like his father and are eager to duel him despite Eli having no prior slinging experience or slugs in his arsenal. arsenal. He also meets
Slug,
friends of his father
slug,
and is able to
slug,
get great
slug,
equipment as well as
slug,
parent his
slug,
father's hideout, which
slug,
is pretty sick,
slug,
by the way. I also
slug,
want to add on
slug,
that Shane was
slug.
such a
Hi, Vex.
strange pick for his last name. Characters that have first names as their last names already make me uncomfortable for literally no reason. But it's just so funny how many people
We're vibing today.
Like, oh,
welcome
you're
in.
Shane. And every time someone mentions his last name or his
Watching some
legacy,
stuff on the
which happens
tubes,
like 4 times an episode,
revisiting
I just start
old
thinking
school
that their first name
cartoons.
is Shane. But that's just a me thing, probably not a you
I don't
thing.
know.
Anyway, after
Back
he
in the
acquaints
days,
himself
seeing
with
a
his
girl
new
with
Eli, voiced by Sam
purple
Vincent, quickly meets the people
nails
that
was something.
make
Woo!
up the Shane Gang, as they're called. He first meets Pronto, who is voiced by Lee Takar. Pronto makes it known that he is incredibly useful to the young Shane as a tracker. He is always trying to prove his value to Eli as he believes that the young Shane can eventually be as amazing as his father, and definitely likes the fame that comes with being associated with a Shane. He is a Molnoid, a digging inhabitant of Slugterra. While he's cowardly and not the best slinger, he makes up for this with his unique and very convenient digging skills. He acts as more of a comedic relief in the series, as his selfish and naive nature leads the Shane Gang into some very interesting
We're vibing, we have a good time. I wonder what type of character I would be in an animated show. I think I don't know if I would be comedic relief. I don't know if I think I would be somebody who is clumsy but sometimes can nail the head on the nail or something.
Justice comes through in her documentary skills as she uses her camera to both help people to understand the happenings in Slugterra and how to properly care for slugs and their environment. Her fighting skills are great too. What she doesn't have in terms of brawn and muscle, she makes up for in speed and agility. She also has
I like in the animated shows that I don't know if people still do it because I'm actually watching more anime than the animated cartoons recently. That back in the days, characters, all sorts of characters had different character archetypes. You had this strong buff dude who was usually a little bit of a silly side, right? He wasn't the smartest one. Then you had a girl who was maybe a little bit on the weaker side, but she was super smart, super fast. And then you have your MC, your main character, who was unsure about his own motivations. I like the different character archetypes. I don't know how to call it in English, where everybody had his own unique appeal. You got people who liked more fighting, then you have the strategies. I agree, Blue Man was cool.
Harmless rivalry between the two of them that proves to be helpful in making sure that Eli is prepared to face the many ruthless villains of the series.
It's like with Wakfu, well, not Wakfu,
we ever met.
or Dofus.
Very much a Lex Luthor-esque character who is incredibly powerful, being the owner of the influential Black Industries. This is a front for his real work, finding a way to take control of all of Slugterra by destroying the magical slug energy that protects the world. Early in his life, he was exposed to the deep caverns, changing his physical appearance to match those of the Darkbane. There,
Why do always
the
those
Darkbane and discovered the dark
people
water,
skip leg day?
used to infect slugs, ghoulifying them. Other villains
Ghoulifying.
Emperor, Spirix, the Darkslinger, and many more.
You need to
The slugs that
ghoulify
exist in Slugterra come in many different flavors. Sorry, I'm hungry and I can't stop thinking about Fogo de Chao. Forms, breeds, whatever you want to call them. There are like 50-ish different breeds of slugs, and each fall into one of 12-ish different
I'm not sure if there were also toys about Slugterra.
Ghoullified slugs, though. The different varieties of elements that the slugs could fall into are air, toxic air, earth, metal, electricity, light, psychic, fire, ice, and water.
Now that I think about it, Slugterra was basically Pokemon.
Some are even used for chores around the house. And there's even a healer slug named Doc that is incredibly rare as an energy elemental slug, but is part of Eli's arsenal. The elemental slugs are ancient slugs that are incredibly powerful and are split into 5 main categories, being earth, air, energy, water, and fire. These slugs were around way before blasters or even the humans that invented the blasters. In order to reach their velocimorph form, in which they are able to transform when hitting 100
Honestly, I
miles per hour,
would kill for be able to make 3D sculpts in this particular art style.
The slugs themselves are a really interesting way to approach the very interesting and conversation-fueled topic of humane animal fighting. In the world of Pokemon, that subject isn't really touched on, but there's an implication that the Pokemon have some sort of a special relationship with their owners, so much so that they will fight for them and put themselves on the line. But in real life, that's literally dogfighting, and everyone can hopefully agree that in the real world, that is messed up and downright disgusting. Luckily,
Oh my
video
goodness, that's true actually.
In no way is real. Slugterra doesn't shy away from discussing this moral dilemma though. In fact, it embraces it and uses it as a way to distinguish the good guys from the bad guys. When Eli first arrives, the only slug that he has is the one that he inherited from his father, Burpee. He establishes trust with the slugs that he has, and even though slugs are used as currency and are often traded when winning a duel or purchasing new equipment, Eli sees the slug ammo as his friends that are invaluable. He also sticks up for the slugs that are underappreciated or abused by their slug slingers, extending a hand to the slugs that are left behind. When searching for new slugs as well, instead of sneaking up on them in their natural habitat and dragging them away from their home, he talks to them and asks if they want to voluntarily join his team. It is also implied that the act of velocimorphing is incredibly enjoyable for slugs, and after they actually fight each other, they don't even seem to be hurt or damaged. This could possibly be because slugs are way more durable when they velocimorph, and they don't have spines to snap or skulls to crack like humans do, which ultimately creates a nice loophole for the whole animal fighting thing. While Pronto, Trixie, and Cord initially think that Eli bonding with the slugs is unusual, through being exposed to how the bond between him and his slugs makes him a better fighter, they let that part of Eli's ethics influence how they approach the concept of slug slinging too. The Slugterra TV movies are actually not any new content separate from the series itself. Those movies being Slugterra Ghoul from Beyond, Slugterra Return of the Elementals, Slugterra Slug
Is there anything similar out right now besides Pokemon?
And Slugterra Into the Shadows. They were
I
incorporated
don't know. I cannot remember if there are another Pokemon-like animated show out there.
The series was available for
2016.
Netflix until 2018, exposing a new, larger audience to the show itself, building up a nice fan base in general.
Looks like we got ourselves a standoff. I'm ready to slug it out.
I like the logos. The logos back then.
Now, this series nicely lives on YouTube, directly on WildBrain's Slugterra channel that boasts an impressive 1.2 million subscribers with constant uploads. While the series was airing, there were also a total of 80 Slugisodes produced and aired. These minisodes usually explored the lore and history of Slugterra more, expanding upon the universe that we get to explore in the series. The series was never officially canceled. Instead, a lot of attention was shifted over to developing games. There were a few computer games such as Battle for Slugterra, Secret of the Shadow Mine, Slug Run, Slug Wars, and Slugterra VR. But their mobile games are what is keeping them feeling alive and thriving. Slugterra Dark Waters, Slugterra Guardian Force, Slugterra Slug It Out and Slug It Out 2, Slugterra Slug Life,
Slug It Out, guys.
Slugterra Slug Slinger Showdown. Those are the many games that have since been added to the App Store for download on smartphones and tablets. The quality of those games varies, with a few definitely being a bit higher in quality, but it's just cool to see how many different styles of games there are. Slugterra, however, 10 years after its original premiere,
I wonder if it still holds up to today.
Or already has made a comeback. Slugterra's
Because usually those shows, they don't hold up today
Slugterra
in terms of
spin-off series that plans to be
story and
24-minute
stuff.
shorts that follow the adventures of Eli and Trixie as they fight against twin
24
brothers
minutes
and
per
back-to-back
show.
affiliates Lock and Load.
That's not bad,
A sneak peek
actually.
for the series premiered on September 5th, 2022 at 2:50 p.m. and new episodes began on September 18th, 2022 at 11:50 a.m. globally on WildBrain's YouTube channel and on
Yeah, what
WildBrain
I'm just
TV
noticing
Canada,
is that
with
each
several
character
episodes
kind of
already
have a
out at the time
unique
of this
feature
video.
about
The
them,
series was
which I
pretty
like.
successful overall, winning a multitude of awards, including an Emmy and a Leo Award, and a whole
Emmy?
slew of nominations.
An Emmy? What the
continuation of the
fuck?
series through many different formats speaks to how loved the
That's
series is
insane.
across the globe. The idea for the series
Many
is
Emmys
derivative
that do
enough
usually
genre-wise to be
animated shows
familiar,
win.
but also so unique and different enough that it is interesting to watch. It leaves fans wanting more. The great plot progression helps as well, and the series is actually really good. I found myself truly enjoying what the series had to offer. From the concept to the action, it was purely just
Lol.
entertaining. Each episode is fun, colorful, explosive, and thrilling. The characters are likable, and the plot arcs are three-dimensional enough that it is interesting to a more adult audience as well as a young one.
Honestly,
Also,
I
have to
kind
give
of
a
want to
shout-out
watch
the
it
animation,
again.
as it was pretty difficult in 2012 to make a show that was fully CGI that looked cool enough with limited budgets, so they made good use of the environments that they were in. I love the color palette and how diverse it is, especially when we see.
Yeah, I agree that the Slugterras are more colorful
like,
than
look
others.
at Eli's hideout. I want to go there. Despite all of that, though, the show, of course, wanted to be a vessel for toy sales, and going off the initial concept of
Oh, they
having
were
guns into the
toys.
show akin to Nerf guns, they did make actual blasters with plastic darts that doesn't really work too well. But I do like that they made figures for all the different slugs from the show, and if I was made of money and had room to house all of them, I'd
Excuse me, have
collect them all.
hiccups.
But what are your thoughts on Slugterra? Are you a fan of the show? Have you been keeping up with the new miniseries? Let me know in the comments below.
The show that I was talking about earlier, Stormhavsk. This one. Do you guys remember that one?
Wait, remember
It's the same dude.
I really think you do, as this has been one of the most
I
requested
liked it a
videos
lot.
I think I've ever had. It was a Cartoon Network and YTV collaboration
Never watched it
project that was
till the
created by
end.
Asaph Ace Fibke that
I
aired
don't know
from 2007 to
what
2009
exactly
for 2 action-packed seasons.
I liked it a
was
lot,
wildly fun
but
and inventive
I have
series
no
that took
idea. I
place
think
in a
it's
fantasy
because
world
of
that was
the
just so
blonde guy
immersive
with
and
the
exciting, with a found family band of characters that are each so unique and
what's
interesting.
this
The
weapon
show had a
called?
lot to offer
Bow.
its audience. Unfortunately, it didn't really get a fair shot to shine in the
Crossbow.
spotlight before its abrupt demise. At its core, Stormhawks is a constant struggle for every character. The struggle to do good, the struggle to survive.
Yeah,
every
true,
character
true.
has their own motivations and development. We see our main
I
characters
liked it a
prevail
lot.
and their heroes fall. We experience what raw power at the hands of the evil Cyclonians can do, and how that power can corrupt anyone.
Action was
There's
also
just
cool
so
here.
much to unpack and so much to wrap your head around. I know it was a lot for me at first, as watching the series was actually my first experience with the show. It was a natural transition for me to check this show out after looking through Slugterra, but I had a lot of fun with it, and I'm excited to get into what made the show so strong. So if you enjoy the video, you better subscribe. Let's take flight into the world of Stormhawks.
All hope lost. Until now.
I like the weapon design in this show a lot. The weapon
Our
design,
setting is the
chef's
fantastical
kiss.
world of Atmos. Right off the bat, it is a similar concept to the world building of Slugterra, but honestly a bit more visually understandable. Atmos mainly consists of large plateaus of land, sort of like giant mesas that are known as terras. Below those towering mesas is the No-No land. In Slugterra, we call it the
No-no.
Dark Caverns, but in Stormhawks, it's
Guys,
known as
no-no.
the Wastelands. This
No-no.
lends itself to
No-no,
a simple
no-no.
ongoing sentiment from our heroes.
If you,
when they're
if you
fighting
have
in the
any
air.
fun shows that we can check out, feel free to let me know. Maybe we can find it. I'm just looking right now for another show that I used to watch. How it's called? That's the problem when you don't remember the name of the show, right? You type of
the burner crystal
stuff that you
and
remember.
there's a cheese crystal that turns things into cheese. What I wouldn't give
Yeah.
for that. Other crystals are just highly rare and powerful, so they're highly sought after, like the Aurora Stone, Infinity Stone, and the Helix Crystal. Not that I want to spend the whole video comparing this to Slugterra, but from my experience from one show to the other, this, at least in my mind, points to the slugs and their powers in that show. There's a lot of familiar concepts at a base level here that make it a lot easier to enter this world, being familiar with those structures, so I'd say it's quite the positive thing going into Stormhawks.
I like the
Visually,
girl a
I'm
lot
on board.
back then.
Story-wise, I'm
She
invested,
was
and
so
character-wise, I
cute.
care. The main characters of Stormhawks
And badass.
are Arrow, Piper, Junko, Finn, Stork, and Radar. The
Junko
series
was
starts
one.
off with our gang of heroes battling our main antagonistic force in an action-packed two-parter. We learn most of what we need to in the intro. Their enemies are the Cyclonians, but more specifically, their evil ruler named Master Cyclonus. In the intro, we learn of the backstory that includes a gang of established Sky Knights who would patrol the skies on their transforming motorcycle ships called Skimmers. The Knights were betrayed by one of their own, Dark Ace, who joined forces with Master Cyclonus and defeated them. But like I said, our story lies with our 5 main characters many years later. The mantle of Master Cyclonus has been taken up by her granddaughter, who proves to be just as maniacal as her grandmother, and decides to use her influence, followers, and nuclear-grade crystal-powered weapons
She
to
was
destroy
hot.
as many terras in Atmos as she can. Just evil people doing evil people things. We love to see it.
Yeah.
Oh, crud. My name's Arrow, and I'm a Sky Knight.
Take to the sky with Arrow's Skimmer 3 Ultra.
The leader of the gang is Arrow, voiced by Sam Vincent, who also voices Eli Shane, the protagonist of Slugterra. See, the comparisons just compare themselves, but again, this is a
I don't know how they sound compared to the
Arrow is a
German
young
ones that I
redhead who
watched.
sports a traditional heroic personality, with a strong bloodline connection to one of the original Sky Knights that were defeated years prior. It's funny how they call him the last descendant of Lightning Strike, when the series only takes place 10 years after their defeat. Like, just say dad. It's not like he was a distant ancestor or anything, but either way, his bloodline and strong moral compass have paved the way for him to be a traditional leader. Arrow is also very talented at flying and in-air combat, as he doesn't hesitate to take risks in order to do what needs to be done. Also, because Dark Ace is thought to have killed Sky Knight Lightning Strike, it makes sense that they would have such a strong connection and hatred towards one another, the whole Inigo Montoya complex and all. Next, we have Piper, voiced by Chiarazani. Piper is by far an essential member of the team. As a crystal specialist, she is able to use and refine crystals so that the team has energy to power their vehicles and weapons, and of course, charcuterie. Man, I just want them cheese powers. She also proves to be essential to the team in her meticulously thought out plans, although they ignore her most of the time anyway in improv. And if science, magic, and strategy wasn't enough, she also is a uniquely skilled fighter, having mastered the martial art called Sky Fu. Personality-wise, she is particular and opinionated at the same time. Oh, and I forgot this too. Towards the second half of the last season, a huge reveal is made emphasizing that Piper is actually more of the chosen one figure than Arrow, which I am curious how that played out for fans back when this originally premiered. I think it's cool how it's portrayed, I just did not see it coming at first. Finn is another member of the group, voiced by Matt Hill. Finn serves as the comic relief. He is distracted often by women, same, and can be lazy, arrogant, and prone to lying. But he also has extremely precise aim, making him valuable to the team due to his sharpshooting skills. What he lacks in personality, he makes up for in scopes. But in reality, he does balance out the team and provides an extremely flawed character that occasionally learns from his mistakes, and is still astonishingly loyal to the group. After all, when the team is constantly faced with so many of their idols and allies siding with the Cyclonians for different reasons, including money, fame, and their livelihoods and more, Finn wouldn't do any of those things. His heart is always in the right place. Junko is the engineer of the group, voiced by Colin Murdoch. Junko is actually not human like Arrow, Piper, and Finn. He is a wallop, a species that is kind of like a rhino, known for his strength but is also stereotyped as low intelligence. While Junko is strong, breaks the stereotypes as he is definitely intelligent, he's at least smarter than me. I don't know the first thing about aircraft mechanics. All I know is that plane go meow. Personality-wise, he fits into the gentle giant trope, being a very sensitive and warm guy. He also tends to be extremely timid, lacking confidence in himself. Stork is also another non-human member of the group. He is voiced by Scott McNeil and is the pilot of their ship, the Condor. He is of the Merb species. His personality is quickly established as paranoid and doom-pilled. A lot of these traits could be traced to his original Terra, as Merbia is known for its constantly occurring natural disasters that would obviously require any inhabitants to be hyper-aware of their surroundings. It could also be thanks to the number of years spent trying to survive in the wastelands. He is the smartest out of the whole group with an incredible memory, and is also recognized for his inventions that are proven to be incredibly useful in saving lives. Although Stork can be seen as cowardly in many instances, his character actually tends to change over the course of the series, and he becomes more confident and proves that you can be both afraid and selfless at the same time. Radar is the last member of the group. He is non-verbal, but when he does make noise, those sounds are provided by Ace himself. Radar is kind of a cross between a rabbit or a lemur, but seems to have more emotional intelligence than being just a pet.
Why would back then the characters were so hot always?
Whether or not someone poses a threat to the group. He's also
I think I need to make some fan art of this show.
Most out of anyone in the group. Originally, he was found by Arrow 7 to 8 years prior, and the two of them have been together ever since. Arrow also grew up alongside Piper and Finn, and the three of them didn't meet Junko until later on, when they were defending their fortress from a Cyclonian youth brigade, which included Junko. He decided to change sides and join the rest of the group to
soon, so
reform the
guys,
Stormhawks
sorry.
after Arrow was told it was his destiny to reform them. They traveled to the wasteland to retrieve the old Stormhawks Condor ship, which was at the time currently housing Stork, who was taking refuge when his home was attacked by Cyclonians, and so the team was formed.
How would you describe this art style? It's not cell shaded, right? Is it cell shading?
The fighters on those vehicles that Ace dubs the Sky
Don't
Knights.
remember.
These thoughts were then developed into the series we know today, with the next step being created creation of the characters. Ace specifies that each character is actually just versions of himself as a kid or of kids that he knew growing up. At their core, they were all just struggling for something. For Arrow, it was the struggle to do the right thing. Junko is struggling with confidence. Finn is struggling to be humble. Piper struggles to be patient. And Stork is just struggling to survive. From start to finish, Ace estimates that it would take around 4 to 4.5 months to complete a single episode. They were expected to deliver a show every 2 weeks, and at any given time, the creative team was working on around
Is there CGI with cell shading? Yes,
shorter
right?
Animation production time could be thanks to the unique style, shared with other shows animated by his company Nerdcore, like Slugterra and Hot Wheels.
Oh yeah, there was a show Hot Wheels. Oh my goodness.
Video, Nerdcore was founded in 2002 by Ace and Chuck Johnson after leaving a larger animation company. The company was later acquired by DHX Entertainment, which later rebranded as WildBrain. The animation is mainly CG, but in Stormhawks, we get a bit more detailing that really makes it look unique. It's thanks to both a fusion of CG and 2D animation, which Ace calls blockbuster Saturday morning animation.
I love the way how they made the fingers.
Show, but with all the fancy
Fingers, arms are difficult to make.
Not only unique,
Art
but it
and
actually does
PC.
look good. I already praised the style in my Slugterra video, and I have to say that it also does a good job in making CG not feel too aggressively CG. It also allows the series to show off the landscapes and the settings that the characters are in, which is essential in trying to immerse your viewer in a fantasy world. Stormhawks does an amazing job at showing off the world that they have built. If anything in the series falls flat, it most definitely would not be that.
I like details, but when you have too many details, it...
Transform into bike mode and ride!
Something that the series boasts is a very diverse age demographic. Ace mentioned that it's thanks to the sophisticated stories that they would try and tell. He says they are not super formulaic and are stories that the creative team themselves would be interested in following as adults. While the series still includes the visual gags and super action-packed sequences for thrill-seeking younger kids, they also put heavy emphasis on well-rounded characters that really drive the heart of the show. For the most part, I kind of agree. The characters do have extremely interesting and unique backgrounds, which shapes their characters in the show as the story moves along. But in general, a lot of this potential is overlooked or thrown away. The strongest episodes in the series are the ones which focus on the actual furthering of the plot. But for me, those episodes were too few and far between. The second half of the second season is well regarded as the most engaging portion of the series, really digging into the larger continuing plot, not necessarily obsessing over small filler episodes.
Stay hydrated,
Overall,
guys.
I think the show is pretty great, but its biggest flaw is that it's left with so much potential. That's the word I want to use, because it did build a tangible world, something that took its time to develop and felt lived in. And onto that, the action in the show being top-notch and having a heavy focus on delivering a lot of entertainment through that. I personally love the creatures and the monsters we find throughout the land. They feel creative and most times terrifying to take head on. The world is just so cool to see, something I think Ace and the team he worked with are great at doing for their shows. They always emphasize the world around them, from the designs of the world to the creatures that fill it. It has the progression of a video game, building up this team, working towards your goal, but still having these
reminds me of
side
Ratchet and
moments
Clank
that
a
would
little
take the
bit.
front seat where the main story wouldn't come back into play until later when it needed to start heating up again, which I think played into people starting to turn away from the series as season 2 would start really pushing the story harder, starting to give you answers, and a lot of understanding of the world would come to light, which can be a lot to ask for if the first season was mostly anything but that. Unfortunately, right as it seemed as the story was starting to fully kick off in the second season, we're built up with this giant plot, the final battle, something incredible was about to happen, and it was left on a gigantic cliffhanger because it was canceled. The last episode aired in April of 2009, and we know that it was not necessarily planned out by Ace or the creative team. In an interview in 2007, Ace mentions that the series has been ordered for a total of 52 episodes, and that he has plans to continue the series past that point. He was mainly talking in the form of a couple feature-length episodes after the initial 52, most likely detailing the ensuing fight against Master Cyclonus after the team follows her into the far side. How chilling. I feel like Stormhawks has a lot to offer in terms of storytelling and world building. It was able to establish some really solid foundations that we were just getting to build upon before its abrupt end. I will argue that it could have used its time better, but despite that, it absolutely deserved more room to grow and thrive. I just loved the concept concept of terras and the wasteland. Although villain motivations are pretty simple and black and white, the motivations of our heroes are established so well. Each character has flaws and room to grow that, again, they just needed time for. So what happened to the series if Ace was planning on continuing it from the start? Well, Cartoon Network decided to not renew the series for a third season. Like I mentioned from Ace's interview in 2007, he was looking to extend the series beyond the TV series and create feature-length episodes of what I assume would be the Stormhawks' final battle with Master Cyclonus. But unfortunately, we don't know much more than that. It could be that it couldn't compete with other similar shows airing around the same time, like Avatar: The Last Airbender, but again,
yeah, definitely.
For sure. It may not have had enough support to continue on, even though there was a solid fan base. But shows on other networks were one thing. Dealing with how its own network in the States, Cartoon Network, was starting to become a different network for a while is another, from the live action era being this huge focus for them, as well as the cartoons that would birth from the other side of that, being in their own wheelhouse and their rise sweeping over. The cartoon world can be cutthroat to get a nice and supportive audience for your show, but it gets harder when everything that truly took away viewership opportunities was all mainly on your same network. They were planning on further expansions of the Stormhawks brand, as there was a game that was in development called Stormhawks Sky Race, which was an MMO that allowed the player to build their own Sky Knight and personalize their armor, weapons, and vehicles. In the game, they would be allowed to fight against other players and compete in tournaments, receiving crystals and rewards. The game unfortunately never got out of beta, but fans were able to test out the beta version on the Nerdcore website, but the site was taken down after what we could assume was the company being absorbed into DHX Entertainment, now WildBrain. In addition to that game, there were also some comics that were in development that unfortunately didn't go very far. There was one issue distributed at Toronto Anime Con in 2009 that featured one story. Technically, it was an Ashcan comic, which means that it was mainly created to establish copyright. While no more of the line of comics were created, there was a mini comic titled Stormhawks The Escape that was a DVD exclusive when the first season was released on DVD. There was a merchandising promotional strategy in plan too, originally to start in the spring of 2008, which included lots of toys, vehicles, action figures, collectibles, and more.
I would like to have those toys, man.
Really cool. The series even had fast food toys because, of course it did. The Stormhawks brand was going to have a lot to offer. The creators clearly had a strong plan for all of it and had a lot of passion behind it. Similar to Slugterra, they could go the way of the show now, which on YouTube has come back in the form of shorts continuing parts of the stories post the show ending, which has garnered some attention, so it may be a cool avenue to take Stormhawks as well, bake it into the online ecosystem and garner the fans back around another ride in the sky to finish what was started. One thing I hate is when a cartoon cannot wrap up its story and you're left on this incredible cliffhanger, and unfortunately Stormhawks falls into that category of a lot of build-up, a really cool cliffhanger, and no closure. So despite not having a satisfying ending to the series, the fandom still lives on, and these fans that are online are still very active, campaigning for the series to make a comeback or to just get people into it. So keep fighting, Sky Knights. You never know what is possible in this day and age. Would you like to see Stormhawks come back in some shape or form? And what were some of your favorite parts of the series? Let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe. Later.
Oh, it's the God. Yo, this is also one of the shows that I used to watch. I don't know. You can watch it completely on YouTube. What the fuck? Tailgate Defenders review. Open egg, I guess I would say. Let's check it out. It is a fun show. So let's see, maybe let me see what else he got. So, wait, playlist maybe. Here. Okay, which one? So we got barely remember Ozzy and Drix. Okay, Yakti, Spotlight Martian. Let's watch everything. Why not?
Welcome to Hector.
Hector?
I love this one.
Hector?
Your new home.
Whoa, hold the phone, lady.
This was a cool one.
There was a moment in history where a lot of the cartoons that were coming out were a lot of darts being thrown at a dartboard to see what would stick, what would land, and what would be ultimately okay to show on TV. Spoiler alert, not a lot worked. The early 2000s produced a lot of interesting cartoons. We were in an era of popular shows getting a theatrical movie, but then we started to see the opposite, like Jimmy Neutron that had a movie in theaters and then was continued on into a television show for Nickelodeon, which nowadays this isn't really a new concept. We basically see everything that DreamWorks makes has already some sort of cartoon continuation on Netflix in the works. That was a sentence that was hard to get out. I'm gonna say 2 words: Osmosis and Jones. A movie that you might remember as this weird Bill Murray eating a gross egg fever dream, or as a fun, unique take on how your white blood cells and medicine help fight off germs and bacteria within your body. And I have some fond, weird memories.
It's basically Cells at Work, before Cells at Work re-released.
Warner Bros. Greenlit a TV series to follow Ozzy and Drix on new adventures. Thus now we have Ozzy and Drix going on new adventures. Man, that's pretty crazy how this stuff just writes itself sometimes. To the show's credit, it lasted 2 seasons and received mostly better reviews than the movie itself, which is what I see and personally feel about how Jimmy Neutron was received. While I love the original movie, there are some episodes of the show that I love and enjoy more than the film. Maybe that's the case here with Ozzy and Drix, because the movie received these mixed reviews, so the show
and you watched this one?
Hurdles to leap over.
I watched Osmosis Jones. I liked it. The show I watched a few episodes.
Dealing with a situation inside of Frank, who was the person they were inside of from the original film. And due to them chasing a disease known as the Scarlet Fever, voiced by Tim Curry, they ended up getting transferred from Frank to Hector. Gross. Hector is a young teen on the cusp of maturing. The major difference being that Frank was an unkept, germ-ridden slob that most time felt like there was no helping him, even if Ozzy and Drix were on the case. Hector was, well, kind of a clean slate. And as Osmosis Jones himself puts it,
I seen the photos in Frank's memory banks. The guy used to be in good shape.
What happened?
Fast food, late nights, smoking. It all started going downhill around this age. We can do a lot more good here. I mean, 13's a scary age. Hector's gonna need somebody who's been around the block a few times. Somebody who can help him through these changes and keep him healthy.
So there's a legit chance here to help out Hector to stop early on from having bad eating habits, smoking, and, well, overall personal hygiene. So both Ozzy and Drix decide, sure, F it, let's help make sure Hector has a fighting chance early on not to go down the same path as Frank did. And there we have the basic premise of the show. Osmosis Jones and Drix are now part of Hector's immune system. I really like this. I think to have the top defenders of sickness join a new crew within a new host dealing with new and more interesting situations than eating a disgusting egg. Oh. Hold on, I think I need a minute. It still makes me gag. I like all of what the show had to offer. It felt more interesting to see what new situations a younger, healthier person could offer the dynamic duo. I mean, seriously, Frank was a lost cause. He was absolutely disgusting. He ate the egg. Oh, he ate the egg. He ate the egg.
Hey, Bill Murray.
Okay.
Don't you put that dirty egg up in your mouth.
I'm gonna put it in my mouth.
Don't you put that dirty egg in your mouth.
Osmosis Jones.
The show never really had that big moment of relevance, as it is easy to get lost in the shuffle of Mucha Lucha, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Static Shock, Cubics, and oh yeah, Pokemon. I mean, it even got overshadowed on its premiere episode, coming out alongside What's New Scooby-Doo? What is new Scooby-Doo? I don't know. You're still solving mysteries. Guess it can't be that new. A pup named Scooby-Doo is better. There, I said it, you cowards.
A pup named Scooby-Doo.
Off me! You're on me, get off me!
So I wouldn't be surprised if the majority of you at all barely remember this show. I'm sure it at least sparked a vague memory of it, or at least remembering the film itself, but I bet
I
you
used to
couldn't name
watch
an
that a
episode of
lot.
the show. And I grew up watching all the shows I listed on Fridays and Saturdays, and because of my captured attention of the other shows, Ozzy and Drix became sort of lost in the mix. I mean, I never really forgot it, I just didn't fully remember it. It was like a memory that's stuck in the back of my brain that rears its head now and
I
then to make
remember
me
this
go,
one
"Oh
episode
yeah,
where
Ozzy
this
and
dude
Drix
was
existed."
starting to
So even though it
smoke.
isn't the first show you remember from that time, what made it special enough to be remembered at all? It was still a fairly competently made show. The animation wasn't lazy, and it was comparable to anything else on Kids WB at the time. I think something that was impressive was that the show always had unique character design, since most of the show was different cells, germs, giant cold pill.
Unhand my partner, you.
Everyone kind of had their own identity. I mean, even background characters and secondary characters always had their own looks as well. I mean, Ozzy and Drix themselves are extremely fleshed out here. Now, sure, they play into the same characteristics of the film, just now a bit more of their personality shines through. Osmosis Jones is this over-charismatic, too big for his britches private eye, who is at most times too cocky for his own good and constantly trying to prove how good he is at his job to his peers.
You're talking to Osmosis Jones here, white blood cell, police legend, and #1 Germinator from the city of Frank.
Drix is, well, just a fun-loving sweetheart who wants nothing more than to be a beacon of good, who can be a little naive sometimes. Now, let's preface this. Do I think you'll be able to pass any tests on the human anatomy or your immune system or any other medical school test because of watching this show? No, of course not. But what the show did do was effectively kind of show how germs or other situations would happen and enter you, and how it would affect your insides, and how your white blood cells and your immune system would fight it off to keep you good and healthy, in an exaggerated way obviously, but at least in a way that was effectively entertaining and educational. Plenty of times they would even reference and mention more obscure issues as to not make the show feel like it's stale or redoing the same narrative over and over and over again. Heck, in one episode they even mention
float like a butterfly, sting like hepatitis B.
What I think was really interesting was the episode Where's the Smoke, which would be equivalent to your basic hey, smoking is bad PSA episode. But at this point in the early 2000s, a lot of the shows that would have a lot of these PSAs about not smoking, don't do drugs, kind of phased out at this point. That was more of like an 80s and 90s kind of thing you would see here and there to be like, hey kids, we know you like this program. Also, don't touch a cigarette. Are you stupid? So to see it still kind of carry over into the 2000s was kind of interesting. And, you know, I guess still a good message. So yeah, I guess you could say I was still kind of in shock to see an episode like this still being made. And in this episode, we see Hector trying to fit in with the cool kids at school who hasn't been there, in which he gets peer pressured into trying a puff of a cigarette. That causes Nick O'Teen, yes, you heard that right, Nick O'Teen, to be the representation inside Hector's body of what smoking can do to your insides and how the addiction can take place. Maybe it was media like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids or The Magic School Bus, but for some reason I really liked the concept of a micro world within our world, a smaller look at everything, whether it's based in reality or a fantastical concept. Does that make me weird? I don't know what it is, but growing up I thought it was so cool to see how your insides work through the guise
I'm
of the
not sure if
cartoon.
it makes
So
one
whatever
weird.
reasoning I like
I would
stuff
not
like that, this show played right into
agree
my
with
enjoyment
that.
of it. In season 2, it tackled puberty as Hector has an increase of testosterone, leading to a new gang of some rowdy teenage hormone troublemakers, resulting in the changing of attitude inside Hector's brain, causing him to be a little bit rebellious.
I do think the show would
And
work
of course,
today
we
too.
had all the pun-based titles and characters galore, as you can imagine, as we've already talked about. Nick O'Teen. So there were other characters like Antihistamine. Yes, like Antihistamine. And like I mentioned, the show lasted for 2 seasons, ending with the episode Journey to the Center of the Tooth, where the escaped General Malaise tries to take over one of Hector's tooth, resulting in him having major tooth pain. And trust me, that's my nightmare. Tooth pain can be the worst, and dentists are scary. That's just a fact. That's not even a joke. That's just real. That's just honest truth. I don't trust y'all. Get your sharp things out of my mouth. I don't want them there. And while this episode does conclude in, you know, Ozzy and Drix saving the day, it just kind of ends the series. There's no continuation. It's just the end.
Jones.
Oh, you're serious?
And after that, this IP has stood dormant. No movie sequel, no show continuation or reboot, nothing. Sometimes things run their course, and maybe that's just the case here. But I think there are enough interesting stories to tell if a comeback was ever in the works. I highly doubt that would happen, and again, lower ratings in the second season really hurt any chances of any more. But either way, I had a lot of fun revisiting this show, and based off a vague memory, I would love to see somehow more of this show, because I genuinely enjoyed my time revisiting Ozzy and Drix. I mean, hey,
yeah, they had really amazing character designs, like you told previously.
Midway, doesn't it?
Video game, I did not know that.
Ozzy and Drix, a 3D side-scrolling platformer disease brawler based on the show. Ozzy and Drix. Yeah, I know, again, this is all super complicated. It's very hard to follow along, but please, try your best. The game has you fight the show's rogues gallery of germs and diseases as they plot to take you both down for good and overrun Hector. The game reviewed poorly and was cited for having very bad controls. Shocking. Would not have seen that coming. At all. Who would have thought? Yeah, Ozzy and Drix really didn't have a chance at being a beloved franchise. It's pretty unfortunate, as I do think there are some great takeaways from a show like this, aside from appeasing my interest in the Smallverse. Yeah, so
I thought it was made by Disney, actually, to be honest with you, when the first time I saw it.
There were so many new shows popping up that it was hard to stand out from the crowd.
Is someone in the crowd?
Emma, shut up! Not only that, it was also the continuation of a movie that didn't perform to the studio's expectations. This show had everything going against it for it to fully succeed, and hey, 2 seasons though is nothing to shake a stick at, despite all
it's usually the thing with the old cartoon shows. Over time, people find a love to the shows.
Cancellation, and since then, the end of the Osmosis Jones IP. I do still really enjoy the concept, and I think that it can still work today with some new, fresh writers and ideas.
It's like the old Buzz Lightyear animated show.
Another movie or a new take on the TV show. Either way, I would love to see a comeback for the germ fighting duo. Or maybe all this was just a fever dream and it's all just one big tough pill to swallow.
No more Mr. Ice Guy!
But what do you think? Do you even remember this show? Do you think it even deserves?
What's this next one?
The early 2000s for cartoons had a lot of varying degrees of success. 2D animation was still rolling strong, and 3D animation was steadily creeping up behind it. And what perhaps made the 3D animation more exciting was that it was something new. Not every show was doing it, and at that particular time, it felt like every week there was a new 2D animated show premiering across Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, and Cartoon Network primarily. It was hard to stand out from the crowd when every other show was trying to do the same thing. The creators, of course, don't want their show to only last a season because it didn't do well in a poorly given time spot on TV. Unfortunately, that's just how it was.
Ooh, this was a fun show.
It didn't matter if you had the best animation or the best writing or the coolest concept. If the kids didn't tune in, the network didn't care about how high art your product is. If it can't sell, then they don't want to continue to buy, if you get what I'm saying. So there are a plethora of cartoons that ran for a season or two that never got their day in the sun. Instead, they were relegated to the dark caves of bad time slots, weird territorial syndication, and worst of all, complete total obscurity. Now, sometimes these shows, if you are even able to catch an episode, nowadays feels like a fever dream. Did they exist? Did they not exist? This is the question. A while back, I was talking with some friends and I brought up a show that for some reason crawled out of the back of my memories, and one by one I saw everyone's faces start to realize they had a faint memory of the same show, but they couldn't tell you anything about it. The main thing that we could all remember was
I've never heard about that particular show. Yakety. Never watched that one.
I will not talk back. He aspires to be a stand-up comedian, a premise in a kid's cartoon that I think is really unique.
What a strange concept.
More so than just the kids.
Why?
Yak going to a school and living a regular life and maybe getting into some average
That's
hygiene,
strange.
but as a yak. So after all these years, digging back up these hidden memories got me interested in tracking down this show and watching it again to see and learn why we, well, at least myself and some of my friends.
It feels like a combination. A lot of shows that were around that time.
Agreed to upon watching the first couple of episodes is a lot to take in. Of course, we have the yak, Yakety, and his friend, a young pineapple kid thing named Kyo. We immediately see their personalities.
It's a pineapple.
Kyo
I thought
is
it was a
just
carrot.
shy, anthropomorphic fruit who is pretty smart when it comes to school and basic general knowledge, and Yakety, well, Yakety is a daydreamer.
But remember, right after a dream, you need to wake up!
That was nuts, man! What a nightmare!
One looking out the window, thinking of his future of hopefully being a stand-up comedian.
What the heck?
Like I said, I love the comedian aspect. Maybe nowadays he even has a YouTube podcast with his other comedian friends, but you'll begin to see right away where this show may have
nice
from
burn.
the start. The second episode sees
Nice
the two
burn, I
friends
like
do
it.
the whole let's cheat in some contest or game show where in which one person feeds the other person the correct answers in some ridiculous way, which will end up in the two getting into a fight and everything getting ruined.
I still not get over it that this is a freaking pineapple. I thought it was just a carrot.
After Yakety Yak's version of this same plot. This isn't just a this show thing. Every live action sitcom or cartoon goes through
Honestly,
verification of things.
this type of art style, it does creep me out. It does creep me up a little bit. Hey Roboto, thank you for your head pet. How you doing, my friend? I hope you have a wonderful Tuesday, Friday, question mark? Let me give you a shout out.
Compare it to Drake and Josh, who would tell the same plot, except Drake is doing it to impress a smart girl, while Pineapple Head wants money, and there's a lot of cheese involved.
Cheese. What's the obsession in cartoons with cheese?
You're gonna need to buy a lot of crackers. You're wearing a hat full of cheese.
Nice.
I love chocolate milk.
While again, nothing of this is inherently bad, the show just didn't bring anything new. We've seen these stories told before. We've seen animal and
That show reminds me of Camp Lutzlow. I don't know if you remember that one. Camp Lutzlow.
Before. As the series goes on, you start to see this pattern more and more clear. It just never felt like the show found its voice, its true identity, something as to differentiate it from the crowd of other shows out around the same time. Another problem that, at least in my eyes, well, I guess my ears really, that
art style is just creepy, man.
The voice inflections the voice actors were directed to give to the characters. Yakety, our literal main character, has a very ear-piercing voice that has some raspiness to it, but it inflects up and down as he shouts and speaks at a
Is
regular
that the
volume.
one with the human in the animal school? Camp Lutzlow is this show
Almost sounds like he's hurting himself to speak.
where animals went to a camp. That's as much as I remember, unfortunately. And this show is apparently about a moose who will wanna become a stand-up comedian.
Oh yeah, and their other friend, the third in the group, Lemony, has a higher-pitched nasally voice.
How can that actor say that,
I've never watched this particular show. It's called
And the last thing I want to do
Yakety
is
Yak.
nitpick. That's not my goal here, but I want to point out the
Yakety
voices,
Yak.
as if you can't get past this factor, then you can't really enjoy the rest of the show. And that's not a knock at the voice
It's still
actors. I've
creepy.
looked
It's
into
still
their other
creepy.
work, and
Creeps
they've
me
each
out,
done
this
their own
art
great
style.
things outside of this, but the
I don't know
voice
what
direction here
creeps me
just
more up.
wasn't it. As the series progresses, we see more of the same, and not returning a library book on time, learning lying.
I think it's the way how the humans are drawn. It freaks me out.
Yourself no matter what somebody else says to bring you down, learning about responsibilities, you name it.
I am not sure why it always was the way.
Any new or unique angles.
I mean, it's not with Powerpuff Girls, Dexter Lab. I like the art style, but in this particular one, the way how the people are drawn, it's not me. It's creepy.
Welcome. That being said, I really wanted to like the show. The memory of the theme song and the characters had me excited to hopefully find a hidden gem of a show, but unfortunately, some nostalgic memories are just that, and better left that way. It's not hard to see why the show wasn't renewed, nor why it didn't become the next big cartoon at the time, but hey, at least we still
Sometimes I wonder, right, how those cartoon shows get greenlit. Yeah, Backhead. Yeah, that's the one where I was like, what the
How
fuck?
I first found this show as a kid in 2005 on Nicktoons.
Yeah, but
Nickelodeon. These played a lot
I'm
of
not
reruns
sure
of shows that didn't get a lot of play
how
anymore on
do
Nickelodeon
channels
proper,
or
as
companies
well as
decide
the
which
obscure stuff
cartoon
like
shows to green
Yakety
light.
Yak, which actually was on regular Nickelodeon for a
I
short
don't know.
time in 2003 and 2004.
Also,
but was
Big
quickly
Head
tossed
was
over for the next
from
several
it's a
years
little
on
bit on
Nicktoon
the
channel. There's an interesting history
yikes
of this
side
Canadian
for my
Australian
liking.
created show, but
I'm
that's
not
my memory of
super
discovering
mega into the
on
net side
Nicktoons
for
on some random
work
time slot
content.
that, yes, even I didn't pay too much
Yeah.
attention to other than retaining the memory and thought of this show existing. It was a fun trip down memory lane, and I'm glad that I've finally rewatched it, but I don't think I'll be revisiting it, at least not anytime
But I am
soon.
also, I did not grow up with a lot of Nickelodeon on Disney Channel. I grew up with Jetix, Fox Kids.
What you thought of this show.
Yeah.
Have you seen it? Have you even heard of it? All of that.
So,
as well
yeah.
As what other shows do you barely?
What's next one?
Do something! The passengers' lives are in your hands!
One thing I
What
love
the
doing here
fuck?
on the channel is looking back into my own childhood. For
Oh, El Tigre, I liked it. I like this one
I was
also.
working on one of my last videos about Yakety
I watched a lot of shows, but no, never completely.
Hole of remembering all of the shows that were on the other Nickelodeon channel, Nicktoons, alongside Yakety Yak. It was like every vague memory I ever had came flooding back. But one, more than any other, stood out to me as I remembered that I enjoyed watching it when I would catch it on the Nicktoons channel at various hours of the day.
Oh, the problem with me with the animated shows was always,
so make sure to hit that like button
probably for a lot of people, you don't
we are dangerously close to 50,000 subscribers.
catch them all at once, right? Maybe you catch the 5th episode and then you catch the 20th episode and so
find out why we barely remember it. This is Cornel and Bernie.
What the fuck is this?
Cornel and Bernie, or otherwise known in various locations around the world as Watch My Chops, follows the wacky adventures of a sophisticated talking dog and the only person who knows that he can speak, his dog sitter, Bernie. A more eccentric,
Why does this look like
guy who is the
freaking
exact opposite personality.
flash
Cornel is smart,
ad
very
on
smart,
some?
in fact.
Oh my!
That wasn't clear already because, you know, the whole talking
That looks like
thing.
flash
Or his
animation.
secret of talking getting out in fear of his luxurious lifestyle from his rich owners taken away by means of scientific tests on him or
freaking
some weird
Family
form
Guy.
of celebrity status. He's comfortable in the life that he lives and he doesn't want that changed. Bernie is not smart. He's not a complete idiot like you'd maybe see on some other shows, but when it comes to stuff like education, he's not the brightest.
You know, Bernie, sometimes you're brilliant.
Oh, he British. He British.
So you can watch everyone around you die. Think smart.
Nor is he ever really truly interested in it. What he does like is the credit for things, and that seems to be the main give and take of the show. Bernie would usually get the pair in some sort of circumstance, and Cornel would figure a way out of it using his higher intellect and fear of his secret of him talking getting out. And then the credit for solving these problems they face is usually bestowed upon Bernie. A concept that, yeah, could get repetitive, but these situations range from semi-normal things like school help or more outlandish problems such as landing a jumbo jet to stop it from crashing in the initial pilot episode.
I'm just
You see what I did there?
fascinated how original some ideas were back then.
I'll stop. But the series found a way to take the same format and make it unique, but more importantly, fun in each episode. Now,
What's the
fun
next
is subjective,
episode?
But for me, I had such a good time
Ooh,
watching
okay.
the shenanigans
Next
this
one
man
would
and
be
dog
fun.
duo would get into. It's also really funny, which is great to see the writers had a lot of passion in crafting every detail in the scripts. I found myself genuinely laughing out loud at the back and
The
forth.
thing that is cool about old shows, animated shows especially, is the way how different the art style is from everyone, right?
And for this show, a mostly forgotten cartoon from the early 2000s, to genuinely get a laugh out of me based on physical comedy alone is a testament within itself. The show only lasted for about
I mean,
26
physical
episodes,
comedy
which
is
roughly
hard.
52 if you count the each 12-minute segment as their own episode, and finished airing in a little past mid-2006. But in a strange turn of events, the show had a brief second life. Nearly a decade later from the show's original release, the show was given another go in 2014. And while it was fully finished with its English dub, it only ever aired in Australia. The only place I could find these episodes now is on YouTube from their show's actual verified account, but I will talk about the YouTube thing later. The show, while keeping the same aesthetic, clearly had a subtle yet noticeable animation change. It came back with a much more cleaner and sleek look due to it being completely.
Oh my
done
god,
with
I
fresh
love the way how his
animation. So while the
nose
vibe
is
still
made, the
feels
little
right,
heart
there
shape,
is a
that's
small
so
difference in the expressiveness of character movement. So it kind of felt like part of the charm that the original run of the show had was missing. But it was still cool to see something like this happen to a show that was relatively forgotten. But why did this happen? How did this show even get a comeback? How did this Nicktoon even completely miss to returning to Nick itself? Well, to start, this show, from the beginning, was not even a Nicktoon.
Yeah, it was some British.
No need to be dramatic
Something
there,
British.
Buckaroo. Let me break this whole situation down from the start. Cornelia and Bernie is a French animated series. It actually premiered in France on France
it's close.
a French public broadcast
It's
channel in
close.
late 2003. Its journey to the US channel Nicktoons had a lot of middlemen go between before it would even air. The BBC, the British Broadcast Corporation,
Yeah,
no, the C
the
does not
BBC.
stand for channel like a lot of us would think.
The
They acquired
BBC.
show itself
Hi
to
there,
add to
Ranger.
the
How you
kids'
doing?
programming
Welcome in.
block. They dubbed the
Nice
series
seeing
from
you.
French to English and put it on Saturday mornings, replacing the Fairly Odd Parents. But why would the Fairly Odd Parents be playing on a channel in the UK? Simple. Syndication. The act of licensing certain material for publication or broadcasting, usually within different territories around the world. So the
Really?
BBC, and
Wow.
yes, I'm still only talking about the British Broadcasting Corp and nothing else, had several syndication deals, with one being Nickelodeon. They would trade different shows they had the rights to play on each other's stations. This allowed Nickelodeon to have first look rights to any of the new shows under BBC's ownership. And this is how the US would get Watch My Chops and rename it Cornelia and Bernie. And thus from that
It's
point,
crazy, I
especially
did
with
not
the
know
lack of
that.
records of this stuff archived
What did I
online,
think
who would
about
have
it?
known better that this technically wasn't a Nicktoon?
You're kinda right.
In my eyes and maybe in your eyes, it is, but on paper, it isn't. From early 2004 to 2008,
You know what
Nickelodeon
this
had full rights to show the show.
Yeah,
But as
Wakfu,
far as
Wakfu.
I know,
Wakfu
they
is
stopped airing Cornelia and Bernie
freaking
on August
awesome.
19th,
Everybody needs to
2006,
watch
the date of the
Wakfu.
last
Wakfu
episode of this
is
series.
insane.
Of course, until 2014, but the deal between Nickelodeon and the BBC was long over.
Oh my
And
god,
like I said,
Wakfu.
it only premiered in Australia.
Roboto,
I guess it got canceled after
ich
that.
küsse
I don't
deine
know why.
Seele. I kiss your soul. Which is a new slang that people in Germany say. They say, ich küsse deine Seele.
So that was Cornelia and Bernie, a show that I remembered,
Wakfu.
but could
Oh
only
my
tell you
goodness.
involves a dog, a dude, and a whole lot of vivid colors. And aside from the clip that I just showed you, I was very pleasantly surprised during my rewatch of this show, as it is very easy to look back on things.
I
with
kiss your
rose-tinted
soul,
glasses.
my
Trust me,
friend.
I do it all the time. But with
Wakfu,
this,
you.
I literally
Oh my
had
god.
no idea what I was getting
Oh my
into
god.
since I forgot
Roboto,
almost everything
you're
about it.
just
I mentioned
a
this earlier,
gem.
but something that is really cool is that you can actually watch this show
It's
on
pretty
YouTube
rare to
and
find
yes,
people
with
who
all the
know
previous
about
never before
Wakfu.
aired anywhere else besides Australia episodes. So if you want to relive this show or watch it for the first time and also see the episodes we never got to see on Nicktoons, it's free on YouTube, and I highly recommend giving it a shot. It's also bittersweet to go back and view these shows, as it's a reminder of what could have
This
been
girl,
if
this
networks
woman looks like my
Nickelodeon
old
would
school
risk showing this or
junior
some of their
high
other
teacher.
production shows a few more times on their main channel instead of multiple hour-long blocks of SpongeBob and Fairly Odd Parents. I mean, it replaced Fairly Odd Parents in the UK, and Nickelodeon handpicked this show for syndication, so why not treat it a little bit better? And please don't take that as a diss to the Fairly Odd Parents or SpongeBob. Trust me, I love them as well. But we could have sacrificed one of those 10 episodes in a row that they would have shown with any of.
Honestly, wait, there was not only Wakfu, right? There was Dofus, something else, right? Wakfu is a story about this dude in the head. Then there was this other one, and then there is an online game. Then there is app. The thing that I like about Wakfu was the art style. I think it's quite unique. At the time that I watched it, I had been burned by a French-speaking ex, and the French accent traumatized me. Yeah. Dofus, yeah.
Nicktoons. And even though Cornelia and Bernie technically wasn't a Nicktoon original, the show could have gone on to be something a
Also,
lot
they
larger if shown to
what
more
they
eyes
did in
and received a
Wakfu
better
was
deal. But
they
Nickelodeon knew what already worked.
showed the spicy side, right? Tasteful. It was not, oh look, here is a girl with big titties, let's jiggle them around. No, Wakfu and Dofus, they did the spicy stuff tasteful, and I love it when shows, animated shows especially, do it tasteful. You know what I mean? Because it's super easy, especially in anime. Anime is a big example of why sometimes the lack of tasteful implication of showing spicy stuff. I know there is a category tag of edgy or going hardcore into the arrow side. There is a lot of fan service, and it's really unusual to see it tasteful. I enjoy the tastefulness, if it makes sense. But I have nothing against when you see it booba wiggle everywhere.
Hey, look! It's that weirdo from the internet.
Aliens.
Oh my god, I forgot it.
Ugly variety is such a deep-cut memory I have. For some reason, I had this action figure, trading card, VHS teaser combo pack set. I can only find the figures.
This is one of those shows I was afraid every time I turned to television, switched the channels, and I saw it. I was afraid. Fan service and early shot stuff, at the moment is a big barrier to introduce it to. Yeah.
There was even a few video games made based on
I
the
lived,
show
but
that lasted 26 episodes for the PC.
I guess the thing that
So you can tell there was an effort put forth behind the scenes to thrust the
with this
show into
show
the forefront
in
of
particular,
everyone's attention.
I wasn't a big fan of Jimmy Neutron. I did not like that particular 3D style.
The show just isn't good, and I don't like to just jump straight into the negativity. I always
It was also aired on a channel that I used to watch relatively a lot, because it was an easily available channel. Because for those of you who are maybe a little bit younger, and don't really watch television. Television usually has two types of channels. You have the free available channels, right? And then you have the paid channels. And in Germany, for example, there are the channels that called öffentlich-rechtliches Fernsehen. And there was this one cartoon channel. It's still going on. It's called Kika. And if you don't pay for channels like Nick, Disney, you would watch as a kid Kika, and Kika had always those strange shows like Bum and other stuff.
It also looks pretty rough. I mean, just look at the stiff and lifeless movements, the clipping of movable joints on their bodies, the weird amount of just nothing happening on screen. Reboot, while early on suffered from
Reboot was great.
problems, looks better. Johnny Quasar, the 1995 animation demo for what would become Jimmy Neutron, looks better. And these predate the Butt Ugly Martian show by over half a decade. It's not to say animation like this can't be looked over in favor of an interesting story or great characters, like with Reboot, but Bum didn't have that. So if you can't get past this,
Wait, is it bum or slang for
then what
butt?
awaits you is 26 episodes of dribblish writing, generic scenarios, and the worst sin you can commit in making a cartoon: boredom. The plot of this show is that in 2053, our three alien friends here, or Martians,
okay.
Dua Diddy, Bebopaluna, and Tutti Frutti, and no, I'm not.
I just think this show was just a big middle finger to all the people outside.
They just come to love it and decide they want to hang out and become friends with Mike, Cedric, and Angela. Three kids who now help
Mike, Cedric, and Angela.
That they aren't slacking off in their quote-unquote invasion of Earth. And there's also hoverboards, there's a robot dog, and I don't know, not much else that excites me or even worth mentioning. I love films and shows about aliens. I think a concept like this could have worked out great given more time and effort put behind it. If anything is going to deter you away from
really
watching the
fantastic.
show,
Oh no,
it'll probably be
the animation.
the initial pilot. It exemplifies everything wrong to come later down the line in the show. From the action, if you can even call it that, to the absurdist nature of its plot.
plots.
Either some being way too generic to where we've seen it many times before, or some that are just so ridiculous where the solutions are.
But to be honest, we need to give the people credit. Back in the day, 3D stuff was nothing.
The rest of the series sees the butt-ugly Martians battling against other
wait, Oscar no Kun. Let me quickly check it on my small little monitor.
Finally learns that they are the good guys, until that character development is shortly ruined after by them wiping his memory. Like, why even bother then? It would have been much more fascinating to see the uglies and Muldoon work together to defend Earth. And spoiler alert for those who care, but this wouldn't happen again until the series finale.
Oh my, I see, okay. Okay, Roboto, you got me there. Okay, gonna check it out later.
And the show ends. 26 episodes building up to their secret of their not wanting to invade and conquer Earth, getting back to their emperor.
How long is usually a show? 26 episodes seems to be a goal, right? Because usually shows get renewed or ordered for 52 episodes.
Himself voices one of the butt uglies, Tutti Frutti. Each time I say it, the more I hate it. So that was a cool thing to hear. Other than that, the show is filled with forgettable moments, lackluster script writing, visuals that hurt to look at.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out.
Value to the animation space that we hadn't seen.
Depends on the run.
Better. Oh, and I didn't.
Because a lot of the shows that we watched here, a bunch of
Transformers-esque power-up scene that happens almost every episode called.
Okay, 13, 26, 52.
About how they were sent to conquer Earth, but now they defend it. Plays in the background. It doesn't look good. It's cheesy, and it happens every time they need a Deus Ex Machina-like solution for their problems. It's copy and paste from shows that do it and do it better. But Ugly Martians did premiere on Nickelodeon after syndication from ITV, a television channel group from the United Kingdom. So another case of, hey, I personally saw this on Nickelodeon, but now thanks to the internet, I learned that it was not a Nickelodeon product.
Let's travel back in time. Imagine you come home from school. You definitely would watch it, right? Because nothing else was running on the television. You were too young to watch the adult stuff, or it was boring, and you would watch those silly little mind-fucking shows. At least it was for me the case.
The show was critically panned across the board and outcasted as a show that cheaply and lazily wastes your time, even for younger audiences. Now, that's not to say that if you enjoy the show, that your opinion is wrong. Actually, that's fantastic, and I'm happy you can and have found enjoyment in it. I would never take that away from you, so please don't take my distaste for it personally, as I'm not trying to attack you because I'm not. But hey, a good theme song can go a long way in remembering something, so let's have a quick listen.
Did you guys had animated shows?
Okay.
Or channels that focus for animated shows for kids at all, or wasn't not really? Because in Germany there were only two public television stuff for animated shows.
A forgettable show that for some reason I didn't forget, but maybe I should have after.
Okay.
Sometimes here on the Barely Remember series, we get lucky and find a true hidden gem forgotten by time.
I see.
Something like this that should
so here there was the channel that I thought was Kika, and then one for kindergarten kids.
And if you do,
there was usually a lot of Bible animated movies.
The time out of your day to watch this video and revisit a weird show with me.
The Christian stuff.
Yo, yes man. My yes man.
Oh, Plus 3000 was also cool.
Music.
I love
That's
you.
the most generic thing someone can say, but it's
now the
true.
question who I mean by you.
Introduce me to new genres of music or artists that I still listen to today. Sometimes it helps expand my knowledge of an artist, giving me the interest to dig deeper into their discography. Sometimes it's just a vibe. While I work on my Hey Arnold video regarding something similar about music, I wanted to rewatch a show that brought me into the music world even further while growing up.
I also liked
musical interest palette.
wait, forget what was the name. What was the show about the island?
I don't want something this special lost to time and overlooked due to how the show ended after 28 episodes.
It's like freaking
so sit back, drop a like, and
Survivors, but it's in a cartoon.
Remember Class of 3.
Something on island. Oh, fuck, I forgot it. Crazy Island? Gilligan's Island? Wait, let me check it. That's the problem when you don't watch the shows in English, but in different languages.
Original ideas that broke away from the traditional formulaic plot concepts and art styles that the public had grown used to, resulting in the time being a treasure trove of cleverly original and often
Total Drama Island. Total, yeah, exactly.
Before fizzling out, leaving
Total Drama Island.
a faint memory on your childhood. The musically imbued animated show Class of 3000 was one of those strange, quirky shows that came out.
I like that one show.
Seemingly out of nowhere,
I didn't not watch it completely, but I watched 6 episodes.
By these companies. It was a show amongst dozen that, by that
And then I liked the show where old historical figures were made to go to college or high school. Was also cool.
Put into the show even years later, you can feel its influence. Class of 3000 was a Cartoon Network original series that aired between November of 2006 and May of 2008. The series follows jazz and blues superstar Sonny Bridges, voiced by Andre 3000, as he, his allusion to the music industry, returns to his old neighborhood in Atlanta, Georgia to retire from music. This retirement is short-lived though when Lil D, a Sonny Bridges superfan and music student at Wesley School of the Performing Arts, convinces Sonny to return to
oh my
music by becoming the
goodness.
school's new music
Welcome in,
teacher.
Raiders. How was your art stream? Artsy.
Wesley's 7 music students grow both creatively and
Guys, let me show you something what Artsy did for me.
music. The show was created by veteran producer Thomas W. Lynch
Welcome in.
and Andre 3000.
Thank you for the shout out. Welcome in, guys. How was your art stream, Artsy?
VP of programming Mike Lazo.
Thank you.
He transitioned over to Adult Swim. Each episode involved the kids of Sonny Bridges' class
I'm pony
being
now.
faced with a strange and wacky situation that the kids, more often than not, created themselves. The situation was neatly tied up by the end of the 22-minute episode.
How was your collab, guys? How was your art
More
stream?
importantly, an original song written by Andre 3000.
This neighborhood got carried.
I did not know that Andre 3000.
Andre Benjamin is a rapper, singer, songwriter, producer, actor, and a member of the Southern hip-hop duo Outkast, among a million other titles that you could give him. I like to just put creative genius on there. Born in Atlanta to a single mother, Andre 3000 grew up in Bankhead, while going to a school on the other side
Man,
of town,
really.
Andre's experience at the
It's a shame that growing up I did not listen to the OG sounds of cartoons, always the translated stuff. Man, that's so sad. But welcome in, Raiders. Please feel free to chill out, vibe with us, and relax.
And I went to school in Bunkhead, so I know that world. I had to ride the bus through the projects and through these rich houses. I was that kid. I knew both sides of it. And that's something that the show really highlights, that Little D has a lot of the characteristics of Andre 3000. From having a single mother parent, as well as his school life and where he grew up. He really
Man, the art style.
in this show. Andre and Big Boy formed Outkast while in high school and were signed shortly after graduating to Atlanta-based label LaFace. Their first album went platinum, marking the beginning of Andre's renounced career as a musician and artiste. The Source Awards.
What's your favorite music genre, guys? Do you have one? For me, I guess it would be pop. I know it's cheesy as fuck, but pop and Euro songs, not Eurovision,
just in the music industry, but also for their work in film.
Eurobeats.
Andre's performance in All Is By My Side, a biographical film about Jimi Hendrix, for which he received an Independent Spirit Award nomination for Best Music.
You really want to change things? When the power of love takes over the love of power, that's when things will change.
In 2003, Outkast released their double album, Speaker Box The Love Below. The former being created by Big Boy and the latter by Andre. It was the
honestly, Joe, I thought you were not really a metal fan, but more electro type of fan. You give me electro who goes to raves and stuff. I don't know why, actually.
realized he wanted to
I
make
give the
something
vibes
separate
from you of electro and rave
To
stuff.
generate ideas, Andre
But
Lazo
metal?
took a trip around
Lol.
Atlanta, visiting Andre's old neighborhood and
That's
middle
cool.
school, and the idea of the show really started taking form. It was also during this time that it was decided that the show would be better geared towards kids. Andre was inspired by the music of
Country.
cartoons and shows like Fat Albert and the Cosby
Honestly,
Kids,
let me
which
think.
during Andre's
Joe as a
childhood
country
were known
singer?
for having great music involved. He wanted to make
Let's
something
have
that
a
would introduce the next generation to music
okay.
different from what they were normally
Let's start
exposed
a
to.
party.
And that's what he did. For 2 full seasons, Andre
I don't know
3000
why, but
created
Terranger,
unique
you give me
original
vibes that you like a lot of classical music and also jazz. I don't know, but you give me jazz vibes. You're always so calm. I like that about you.
Jazz, funk, soul, and pop, while introducing kids to the passion one can have for music and highlighting Andre's hometown of Atlanta. Class of 3000 elevated how deep art can be portrayed in the guise of a kids show, bringing a cast of kids with multiple different backgrounds coming together over their love of music. Led by one of the most prolific
Yeah, I mean,
of all time,
from what I've
Andre
seen and
3000,
heard about you
the music was
and interacted with you, you were
consistently
pretty
changing, giving you a mix of
calm.
different genres to explore, additionally with some psychedelic-esque visuals to entrance you into the emotions expressed behind said music. It expressed the importance of
It's
environments
Vex
you grew
Suru
up in
dancing
and showed you
around.
a look into Atlanta
I mean,
through Andre's
if I think
mind.
about
While the
Vex,
show received
Vex
predominantly
reminds me,
positive reviews, the
I don't know
soundtrack
why,
was
but
even
Vex
ranked
gives me a rap music
4.5
vibe.
out of
I
5
think
stars
Vex
on Amazon.
is
The show was
secretly a
eventually
rapper.
and heartbreakingly canceled. The exact
She
reason for the cancellation
makes a lot
has
of diss
truly
tracks.
never been
She's
confirmed by the
breakdancing
network,
somewhere
but
in
a few
the
theories
corner.
have been tossed around as strong contenders. One theory
It's in
was
a
that the show
breakdance
was
group,
canceled because
probably.
it had such a high production budget. The need to write and record an original song for each episode, along with the unique art style of the show, added up, making
Country
it more expensive to
roads.
produce than a lot of other shows. Another theory was because of the lawsuit. Yes, lawsuit. According to the Boston Herald in 2008, former art student
What?
Timothy McGee filed for plagiarism, breach of contract, and misappropriation of trade secrets against Cartoon Network for the show. McGee claimed that in 1997 he proposed a similar show to, at the time, VP of Operations for Cartoon Network, Mike Lazo, called The Music Factory of the 90s. U.S. District Judge Douglas Woodlock dismissed the case in Boston on the grounds that the general feel and themes of the two works are so
That's
different that
crazy.
no ordinary observer would consider them sustainably similar. Along with that, Judge Woodlock stated that the mood and tone of the series are very different. Class of 3000 is a children's cartoon that is fast-paced, whimsical, and laden with traditional
like I told in the
cartoon
beginning,
slapstick comedy.
there
By
are a lot
contrast,
of
Music Factory is
reasons
aimed at
why
an adult
shows,
audience,
animated
serious in
shows
tone,
close
and
down.
not
It's
intentionally
fucking
made to be
money.
comedic. Moreover,
It's
Class of
fucking
3000
money.
is full of fantasy and magic, whereas Music Factory is grounded in reality. Despite the lawsuit being dismissed, Cartoon Network moved forward with canceling the show and removed
What the
all
heck?
reference to
What's
it
going on
existing,
today?
including a small 2019 cameo of Sunny in the
Welcome in,
final
Sunny
episode of
Day.
OK
Thank you for the
KO, Let's Be
raid.
Heroes.
Welcome in.
Whether
How
it
was the
the lawsuit
stream?
that finally convinced
Hey
Cartoon
guys,
Network
my
to
name
pull
is
the plug,
Ziggy,
or simply the fact that
and
Class
today
of
I'm in my
3000 was
pony
created at a time
farm.
of
I'm the
flux for
Ziggy Bot,
Cartoon
and we're
Network,
watching
where
some
shows
old
like Dexter's Lab and
shows.
Powerpuff
How was
Girls
your
were all
stream?
being phased out and seemingly already
Thank you for the follow, Nicole
these
Vipion.
shows were not airing anymore, or at least less
Welcome in,
frequently.
guys.
We may never know what happened.
What did you
Truly.
do?
What can
Tell
be known
us.
was that Class of 3000 was an
I'm
ambitious
pony
passion
today.
project born from a
I'm in
deep
my
love
pony
for
farm.
music and the culture of Atlanta. It was
Thank you,
homage to
Lorraine.
Andre
I
3000's
appreciate it.
childhood and experiences, told with whimsy and charm
Haters,
that
if
stuck
you
with
need to
you
take
years
care of
later.
yourself,
course, it
please
was
do.
truly a tragedy
Don't feel
that it
obligated
ended
to
so
stay.
soon.
My day was amazing. I'm lazy today. That's why we're watching YouTube. Learning about old school cartoons.
Than baseline entertainment and deeper than your average lesson learning. By not widening its horizons
Dating
to
sim.
things
Did you
outside of
get
the
the
arts, it
waifu?
was able to hone in on the
Did you
messages and
find a new
stories it
Oshi?
wanted to tell. Music is very important, and not just to me, but to life. It creates moods, it can conjure feelings, attach itself to a
Wizard
moment in time,
dress
and bring back
art.
memories.
Let me check it out.
Life without
Sounds
music
fun.
will never have a tempo or rhythm for you to follow. We all have a beat inside of us that drives our day-to-day life, your internal metronome. So never, ever be afraid to get.
Oh my goodness. Wow. That's not a waifu. That's oh my husbando. Oh my goodness. Let me wishlist this. Husbando. Holy. Holy.
I truly hope you enjoyed this video. It was a bit deeper than your...
Oh my
Procedure is what
god.
separates us from the wicked forces of chaos.
If it means less paperwork, I'll take.
Hey, let me see what else what we got. The Mighty Lloyd, Kappa, El Tiger, Tough. Jackie Chan was good. Robot and the Monster. Oh, Shaolin. Oh my goodness, Shaolin Showdown.
Wait, remember Shaolin Showdown? Shaolin Showdown was an
Oof.
animated series first airing on Kids
I
WB
love the
that
show
ran
so
from November
much.
1st, 2003 to May 13,
Oh,
2006
so
for a
good.
total of 3 seasons. This one specifically stuck
freaking
out to me
good.
growing up, following it from Kids WB to the reruns on
I only
Cartoon
watched the
Network.
first
I
season
remember
though.
specifically liking the art direction and in general, the character dynamics between the main group of Shaolin warriors. So on my list of shows I wanted to
I like the art
rewatch,
style.
Shaolin Showdown has always been on there, but I have been pretty worried that it wouldn't resonate with me the same way it once did, but hey, here we are.
Yeah. I agree. Texas guy and the clown guy, the
Welcome
evil
back,
clown
or
guy.
hey, hello, for the first time to the 25 Days of Fringemas, where I cover something interesting, nostalgic, or
Oh.
holiday-related.
Wait, let us actually. Wait. Let us see. Old. No, Cartoon. Cartoon Network. Oh my god, I have so many cables, man. My cable management is a mess. Trust me, guys. Dear big guys. I got so much shit around my cables. Oh my goodness. I'm too lazy. I need old cartoon short Cartoon Network games shows. Let's see what we got. So okay, let me see. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Did I watch this one? Moxie's Pirate TV show. No. That's something I've never watched. Okay, it came out 1993, 1995. No. I've seen memes about this one. Texas, 1996. Oh my goodness, 4 seasons. Okay, 4 seasons makes sense. I ate meat of the meat tray at work, and I'm 99 sure I have food poisoning now. Or maybe you just need to visit the toilet, my friend. Dex, what are you doing in freaking Dexter's lab? I mean, if you just make it, can I actually make it? If I go to here, right? Go to filters, add a filter. Pop. Color correction. No, wait. Yes. No. How do I make it green? How do I change it? How do I change green? What the fuck? How do I make it? Guys, never mind. I don't know how to make color correction in OBS. Well, yeah, you look like freaking. I already did 5 times. I mean, honestly, I think you look like a DD. It's a compliment. That's me. Make it. I mean, honestly, you also. What's her name? Wait. Butters. Right? Butters, right? What was the red one's name? Bubblegum? Bubbles. Yeah, definitely. Wait, I don't know the names of them. Butters. Butters is South Park. Oh my god, I'm so cringe. Butters. This is the show that I hate the most. I don't know why, but it's the art style. How they drawn. Buttercup, Bubbles, Blossom, Buttercup. Okay, why it's BBB? I don't know. I also don't like this particular art style. It's Buttersnow. Yeah. Ship in the big city. Harvey Batman, the attorney at law. Time Squad. Honestly, this is best show. It's still the best one. This is Samurai Jack. No matter what you tell me, if you even, I don't know, from somewhere over from, I don't know, a desert or so, you turn on the person Samurai Jack, first season, they gonna cry. And then you hooked. Because Samurai Jack is one of the few shows where they did not need dialogues. It's all emotions. Let's go. Oh, you know what? I've always liked this girl here. I don't know why. She was my favorite. I had a crush on her as a kid. But I wanted to be him, bald. You never watched Samurai Jack? Vex. Or you never watched COD? Game and Evil wasn't as good. I liked also the chubby body, the chubby one. Oh man. It's 2008. Ooh. Ah, okay. Evil Con. Star Wars Clone Wars. Okay, this one. I've always wanted to watch it, but unfortunately it didn't air in Germany when I had to. It had not to watch it. But I know that Disney Channel did a live action series about it, which is basically trash. I gonna say you something about this particular show. So, you know, there is a particular site called Rule 34, which nobody should ever touch upon. My first encounter in school with this site was one of my friends showed me some pictures of Rule 34 about this show, and it killed me. I could not watch the show. I cannot stop it. Help me. I cannot see the show. Every time I see the show, and I remember I was traumatized. I'm so sorry, guys. Let's move on. That's cool. That's cute. Oh, I like this one. Spray with water. Camp Platzlo. That was a weird one. I like the intro. Monkey. This is the best one. This one is the best cartoon ever made. 4 seasons. It's, I don't know why. It's just best. I liked Hi Five Yami. They were the ones that did the intro. Oh, really? Squirrel Boy. Class of 3000 was cool. I liked that one. Chowder. Oh, Transformers Animated was also nice. Ben 10 Alien Force, mid. It's alright. You can watch it. Diablo. Okay, this was Omniverse was. Yeah. Okay. Honestly, you can kill me, or you can get out your torches and what's it called? Big forks. Steven Universe and Adventure Time and regular show, those three, S tier. Steven Universe, music wise, art style wise, story wise, insane. Mixels? What the fuck is that? Wait, you never watched it, Joe? You need to do it. They are Steven Universe episodes are roughly 10 minutes. Okay, this is good. This is good. To burn me down. Over the Garden Wall, 10 episodes. Man, it's such a great show. My goodness. Oh, so cute. No, I loved it. I love those three shows. Because there are a lot of people who don't really like Adventure Time, regular show, and Steven Universe. Reboot. How many reboots did you guys make? Bum 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 bum. The Heroic Quest, Apple and Onion. Yeah, in Germany especially, unfortunately. Wait, wow, Infinity Train is great. Three seasons already? Primal. Boom, 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 boom. Bum, 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 bum. Ah, nice. Cool to drive, to go around to take a look at what's it called? Wait, chaotic? What, chaotic?
Remember Chaotic? It was this cool fusion of fantasy, sci-fi, action, all tied.
There, we talked with you about this show actually, right?
Yeah, stop me when you've heard that one before. Being produced by 4Kids Entertainment, Chaotic was made out of the want to tie in a show with a card game. This time with the card game being established already. Chaotic Now or Never, a Danish and origin card
cool.
game. But we gotta give the show a plot, some characters, and a distinct look to stand
I like
out
the
from
show
the rest
too.
at the time. From Pokemon to Yu-Gi-Oh to Digimon Pokemon, I was a card collecting beast. Was then, am now. So to be around during the early 2000s where it seemed almost every show tried having a collectible or trading card game that would either loosely be attached to a TV show or be in relation to it was a true sight to behold. While some worked, some failed, and some were underrated and sadly lost to time. But where does Chaotic place? I feel like people remember this series, but at the same time, I feel like there are so many out there that don't even know what I'm talking about. So today, let's take a look at Chaotic. And if you enjoy
I wonder if it would work to take rate as a show or as a card game.
25 days of Fringeness, where there's going to be brand new videos every single day from December 1st to December 25th. Hop aboard.
I wonder. I think it would work similar like Pokemon Go in a sense with those. Like a new card game.
The Danish, they've given the world some great things. Salty licorice, Lego, and of course...
I like licorice. What about you guys? Do you like licorice?
Originally in 2000 as a game called
It's good.
Rules and
I like
Books,
licorice.
It would quickly be remolded into a different game in 2001, one called Chaotic Now or Never, which is the thing that caught the attention from Brian Gannon, who from 2002 to 2003 was the vice president of global business development for Upper Deck, specifically for
honestly, when the show was around in Germany at least,
the business world of syndication, licensing,
I only
trading cards now. He would serve as president and
seen a few of those toys.
A subsidiary of 4Kids Entertainment from 2003 until 2014. The whole goal, aside from Americanizing so much anime, was to get something of their own by going and acquiring Chaotic Now or Never. And by signing a deal to do so, Chaotic Now or Never was completely canceled and not a purchasable product anymore. This signed contract resulted in the efforts to bring Chaotic to the US, but the challenge was to format the existing base game into something much more marketable, changing up the terminology, the names of the creatures, and the overall look of the card game as well. Clearly, they weren't just...
I like the art style. This art store has very minimalistic line art.
Every successful card game basically had a TV show, so obviously...
Which is actually super difficult to pull off.
By any sense of the imagination. Using a lot of the original lore behind the game, they took pieces and parts from what
but I also found
more unique story ideas and plot
for the card game by itself, it's somewhat complicated to play with a lot of those card collecting games that were based on TV shows. The way how you play them were super complicated.
Coming up next, Chaotic on Shit.
How many seasons did Chaotic get? I believe only one, right?
Is Tom, voiced by Jason Griffith. Tom's your average teenage dude who enjoys the card game Chaotic, along with his best friend Kazdan, voiced by Darren Dunstan. Now, playing the game is cool and all, but what about being actually in the game? Well, that's something that Tom doesn't believe is possible, no matter how many times Kaz tells him about this mysterious secret code that will allow them to do so. But of course, the super secret password gets sent to Tom, and of course, he enters it. Nothing is going to happen, though. Is what this dude really thought, because his scanner device transports him to the world of Chaotic, where the monsters on the cards are real. And
this is so chaotic.
Scan them and also become them. Yeah, it's pretty rad. There are two separate areas within this world. The Battledrome, where you get to become the creatures and battle opponents, and then there is Param, the actual land of the creatures in Chaotic, in which you can go scan into your device, which looks like it functions as a version of Pokemon Snap. The creatures of the land are split between 4, but secretly 5, different tribes that all have their own unique designs, abilities, etc. in relation to their tribe. Each tribe has a leader, with Maxor being the leader of the Overworld tribe, serving as the face of the show basically in our vessel into the creature relations between tribes. With a war going on over the power known as Kathaka, and while you may root for one tribe over the other, there is no real good side or bad side. Each tribe sees themselves as the good side. And through the storytelling, you don't see them as either good or bad, but maybe a mix of both. Something that was particularly unique to Chaotic was that the gameplay adjacent aspect of the show was pretty well thought out in actually teaching the viewer the real, or as close as you can get, techniques and concepts of how to play the accompanying card game. A lot of other shows stretched and bent the rules in favor of story plot or more definitive action, but Chaotic didn't sacrifice either. Instead, it embraced the rules into the world of the show while still adding in the the features unique to the show, like going to the world and becoming the
Only
creature.
watched a few episodes of the show,
looks different
unfortunately.
from the following 2 seasons of the show, with the first being done in Flash.
They have 3 seasons?
2 and
What?
3 would look more like your typical anime aesthetic
What?
to fall in line with the other shows it was similar to. This was a major point of contention between fans, going back and forth from those who like the new look and those who prefer the original. The supporting cast of other human characters do a fine job on getting their time to be important to the story, or at least play a role that doesn't stray the path too much or ever become an annoyance. Peyton, voiced by Mark Thompson, is the definition of that one dude who is the most into the card game. Like, it's their personality. Sure, he has a great knowledge of Chaotic, but man, can we talk about something else sometimes? Like, have you seen the 2017 masterpiece of a film, Blade Runner 2049? Sarah, voiced by Rebecca Solar, the smart but ain't taking your crap type. She's headstrong and will go to great lengths to scan the creatures of Param. Then there's Christella and Claiborne, voiced by Meredith Zeitlin and Gary Mack, the pranksters and main human antagonists of the show. They are your standard bad guy type. They aren't nice, and I don't like them. There was a video game for Chaotic that came out in 2009. Maybe we take a look at that soon over on my Jordan Fringe Gaming channel.
Oh, there's a video game.
Now let's talk about the
Lol.
card aspect of things. Like
I mean,
mentioned, the show
there's
is
still
very
a video
active in
game
teaching you,
available.
the viewer, how to play the game through the guise of some really fun and creative action. The physical cards themselves were really cool looking. They stood out apart from Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, but there was an aspect about them that made them feel, well, less collectible and more of a way to get you from the physical cards to the online game. Each card would have this code on the bottom of the front of the card that you could input online for the online game. But on the back is where it feels tacky. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. There you'd find a nice logo for the series, but at the bottom you see an advertisement for the card game website, which, thinking about the digital age and the rise of so many card game players
I
of the
see.
game and or using code cards like for Pokemon and inputting them into the game, it seems that Chaotic was trying to be ahead of the curve, as this would continue to be a growing format, but it weirdly felt like I was being marketed to something else than rather having fun collecting.
It's interesting why it failed. I want to find out why.
Cards: creature, attack, music, battle gear, and location. Creature cards are the main cards you play as, and they were all even more unique by having a randomly generated set of stats. Yeah, you and I could have the same cards, but these sets of stats right here would be completely different. A pretty cool concept for the game in general, but an annoying one for collector completionists out there. Good luck with that one. Each creature would be from one of 5 different tribes: Overworlders, Underworlders, Mepidians, Danians, and Moralians. Each tribe having a distinct look to their tribes, like the Moralians looking like slime-based alien creatures. I like them. Battle gear is your attachments to your character, like weapons and equipment. Music is musical magic, essentially. The spells with special effects that you could use one time. The attack cards allow your creature to complete some form of command. And of course, location cards are area-based, changing the environment to either help your creature or put your opponents at a disadvantage. It wasn't too hard to pick up and understand while not trying to be exactly like any other popular card game at the time. Plus, the creature designs are what stood out the most, being the single thing I remember the most about Chaotic. I know we are specifically talking about the show in this video, but since the card game is baked into the DNA of Chaotic on every end, I figured
I've noticed that a lot of those card games for the shows, they have a similar base, right? They always had this landscape mission type of situation card that you had to flip up.
Keep the Gothica cool. Chaotic Marillion Invasion will return right after this. Now back to Chaotic Marillion Invasion.
Chaotic neutral.
The show itself would come to an end in early 2010 after 3 full seasons. Several months after that, the website updated one final time and the upcoming card expansion was delayed indefinitely. It seems that this was the sad end of the show and the property in general. That's it. But what was really going on was a bunch of privately handled lawsuits regarding the rights to the property of Chaotic between TC Digital and 4Kids Entertainment. Funny enough, 2 years later in 2012, Chaotic went on to celebrate the 5th anniversary of the card game specifically, even when behind the scenes mommy and daddy were fighting. But if we fast forward 2 more years to 2014, 4Kids Entertainment filed for bankruptcy, but came back together now under the name 4 Licensing, which 3 years later in 2017 would also file for bankruptcy. Why is that important? Well, that means that the big legal back and forth battle that's been happening effectively has ended, and the rights default to the company left standing, TC Digital. But things went silent. The battle was won, but now it's been 7 years since the show ended, and the card game really hasn't done anything since
Maybe
then
we get
either.
some
However,
sort of a
Chaotic
reboot.
may not be dead after all. In fact, in 2019, Brian Gannon stated in an interview that he does want to revive the series. He has plans to revive the series. It wouldn't be a reboot, rather a revival, and would pick up where things left off at the end of the 3rd season. Along with that would mean the revival of the whole IP in general, so I'd expect that to mean the card game.
But I don't
too.
think it
The
will
last
work
couple
out
of
well.
years, it was briefly mentioned, and more hints to it officially becoming a thing were floated around, thanks to Brian's light teasing of it. Our final bit of information regarding the revival was in March of 2021, 11 years since the ending of the show, where Brian stated that the revival is still in the works. As of making this video, nothing further has been announced, but I guess we will see what the future holds. However, there's one more thing.
One more thing!
In June of 2022, a YouTube channel called Codemaster Hard Rock was able to meet up and speak with Brian Gannon, and was able to get some more information for this revival, confirming some frequently asked questions by the fandom. For example, legacy cards will be able to be playable and reprints will be happening. The first card set to release was the one that was indefinitely delayed, titled Fire and Stone, and that they are looking at the 11-minute runtime for episodes rather than a full 22 minutes. There will be a mobile version of the card game or some sort of companion app, as well as looking into both the video game market and
Interesting.
another PC version of the card game. Oh, and a movie to kickstart the revival may be in the works, with thought going to either a cartoon version or a live-action version. I personally
think
really
cartoon would
enjoyed
be
what
cool.
the show had to offer. I must admit that during its original airing, I wasn't keeping up with the show that often, and not so much the card game either. For me, it sadly always fell behind stuff like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Digimon. Not that I'm trying to compare them all together, but those
It's
other
hard
three were
to
able to go
beat
on and continue their
these
fandoms
3
to this
big
day, and have never really
animes.
lost me as a fan. Maybe I was already juggling enough in this hobby area that another card game / cartoon didn't interest me that much. Whatever it was, it boils
I
down
wonder
to just
why
younger
it's
me
that
not
way.
having full interest. In hindsight and fully watching the show, there was definitely something pretty great here. From the storytelling to the action, the show had something special that I could see myself liking back then, and I guess I feel bad for not giving it the time of day a bit more. I do see a future that if or when this show does actually come back, that I will give it more attention. But as for the cards themselves, while I love the art on them,
They look
truly you
cheap
need to do
actually,
something
now that I
special
look
with
at them.
to pull my interest there as well. If it's all encompassed together, all aspects need to be given the same amount of love. The cards need to ditch that website link on the back. Yuck, get it out of here.
Yep.
And maybe a bit thicker of card stock and boom, I'm in. But what about you? Were you a fan of Chaotic? And if so, would you be on board for a revival of the series and card game? Let me know in the comments. Thanks
I'm
so
not
much.
sure. I am not sure actually. I am not sure. But I think we gonna wrap up things here. It's kinda late. But it was fun revisiting older cartoons, shows, talk about random stuff like Bionicle and so on. It's fun, it's fun. Just chilling, chatting. Been a while since I did it. Thank you for joining me. Let's see who we can rate. I have a few candidates in mind. So we got number 1, number 2, yeah, let's rate Kali. Let's rate Kali. yeah, guys, thank you all so much for joining me today. Again, thank you for the rates and for the follows and for support. Thank you. We're gonna rate the lovely Kali, who is having also just chatting and has a cute new form, I guess. I wish you all a fun day, evening, night, whatever. Keep it fresh, keep it funky. We're gonna see us next time. Thanks. As always, Sigi.